Hello, everyone, and welcome to the P1 Broadcasting Network. It is Murph. It's Sam. It's Thursday night, and you know what that means. It's time for the AMA Black Magic Studios Grand National Series, live from virtual Las Vegas, Nevada, for the Roll the Dice 301. Sam, this track looks like a regular 1.5 mile oval, a lot like Kentucky, as a matter of fact, but it is so very different, isn't it?
Oh, it is incredibly different. So get the dice out, pull up to the table, don't count cards, make sure that you bet on black, and hopefully things will fall in your favor, because this place can be a ton of entertainment for fans and a big headache for drivers.
You know, it's going to be fun to watch. This track, much like Kentucky before it was paved, they're very similar in shape, but this track, much like Kentucky before it was paved, is very, very bumpy, especially in the corners. Turns 1 and 2, there are bigger bumps. Turns 3 and 4 have smaller versions of those bumps, and so we're going to see drivers driving across those, trying to keep control of their machines. Tires at this track are at a premium because of that old surface, Sam, and because of the desert, because all the sand and grit, they wear out pretty quick.
Oh, that and the speed. I mean, the speed alone. These cars are going to be diving into 1 and 3 at 180 plus miles an hour. So it's the speed attributed with the things that you said. Yeah, tires are definitely going to come into play.
They most certainly will. The distances tonight, we're going 301 miles, 201 laps. Stages at 45 and 90, Sam, so we will have a pit stop in the middle of the third stage. Right now, we've got, as far as I know, last time I looked, 17 cars are signed in. There's one that is not here. Matt Sisler is not in the field, nor is Sean Merriman. Neither one of those drivers are taking part this evening. But we do have 17 cars, and we are ready to rock and roll. I want to say hello to Brett, hello to Donald Green in the chat. And so, what are you looking at tonight, Sam? And what are you looking at tonight to see who's going to take home the flag here in Vegas?
Well, it's going to take a lot of patience for some of these drivers. In qualifying, they're going to try and get everything they can get, but this car, especially in these particular conditions with the sun out. Now, even though the track temperature is only about 97 right now, it's still very treacherous on cold tires. And when these drivers go out on that first out lap, it's going to be all they can do to keep the car under them. And even if you were watching some of the practice like we are before the event starts, turn 4 is going to be calamity corner. It's just going to be so slippery there, and whoever doesn't get loose, the car can very well be thrown straight out into the outside wall on exit. So we're going to watch turn 4 very carefully. Turns 1 and 2, like you said just a few moments ago, it is aggravatingly bumpy, and these cars, with all the suspension travel that they have, it can disrupt the car enough that it can take the wheel out of the drivers, just depending on how much force feedback they may be using tonight. But it's really in a pack. It's going to be very close, and it's going to be very treacherous for these drivers. They're going to have to be very careful, because as fast as they're going, if anything happens, it's more than likely the end of the night for these drivers.
You know, most certainly is. This track, as you mentioned, Sam, very, very fast. It has hosted a variety of racing action throughout its history. The track itself opened in this track opened in 1999. It is not the beginning of racing here, nor is it the beginning of racing in Las Vegas. Racing in Vegas starts way back with the Stardust International Raceway. Now, that track was not adjacent to the famous casino of the same name, although it was owned by the Stardust Casino. 1965, they built a road course in Vegas. That went away in 1971, and then there was a new road course and drag strip built by Curly Price, called the Las Vegas Speedrome. That was at this location which was completed in 1972. The track fell into disrepair. The drag strip was run through the 80s, and then in 1989, the owner of the Imperial Palace Casino, which is now the Link, and Sahara Hotel owner Bill Bennett, who also at the time ran the Circus Circus, was huge into the Circus Circus boat racing team, was huge into boat racing. They built this place. They started construction in 1996, 1998 or 1998. Bruton Smith bought it, folded it into his SMI empire, and that's who owns the track today. They have run Indy cars, Champ cars, Cup cars here at Vegas. It does have a road course in the middle of the oval. The track record here, and I gotta find it, Sam, for NASCAR Xfinity cars, 30.063. We are going to be well short of that, depending on when qualifying takes place. Right now, fastest lap in practice, 30.476. The outright track record, what do you think?
Oh, it's got to be in the 28 with the Indy cars, or even 27.
The Indy Lights track record is 28.322 by Stephen Wilson.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It probably had to be that low.
That's Indy Lights. We know the track record holder, Sam.
We do.
Richie
Hearn.
We know the absolute track record holder, Richie Hearn, 1996 in his Reynard Ford, 24.636 miles an hour. That is hauling the mail, Sam.
Man, you talk about a superb guy to race with on iRacing. Richie Hearn, he's a class act. He really is. He's such a nice guy.
He most certainly is. The infield road course, by the way, the long course is just a hair over 4 kilometers long, so about 2.5 miles. They have not run prototypes on that thing. The track record for the long road course, 1:32.873, set by Miguel Molina in a Ferrari 488. And speaking of speed, Sam, I'll give you 3 guesses as to who's fastest in practice.
Okay, then I'm going to go with, all right, I will start with the Deuce, Greg Evans.
He is second quick.
Second fastest. Okay, then I will go with David Dunwoody.
David Dunwoody is 6th quick. For the second week in a row, Ryan O'Donoghue, 179.785 miles an hour. That's a 30.476 for those of you scoring at home. Do want to point out the points.
Ryan, how do you pronounce that name again? Who's this guy?
O'Donoghue, yeah.
Yeah, he must be new.
Yeah, no joke. Just to point out, this is the first race in the round of 8. We are here at Las Vegas for the opener. Next week it'll be Talladega, and they'll close out the round of 8 at Martinsville before the finale at Phoenix. Greg Evans leads the points by 76 markers over Kendall Paul. Ryan O'Donoghue is 3rd, 77 back. Dylan Godinez is 4th. He is 81 points in arrears. James Hodgson 5th, 87 points down. Justin Osterman is 6th, 91 points back. And then David Dunwoody and John Hutchins are the final drivers in that playoff hunt. They are tied at 2,000. Excuse me. They are tied at 3,000 points each, 92 markers back of leader Greg Evans, and we are ready to get to qualifying here, Sam. And this is, I tell you what, this is going to be a ton of fun.
That's right. That practice speed by Ryan O'Donoghue. That's cool nighttime track speed. Honestly, that's under the light kind of speed. A 4. That's incredibly fast.
We're going to set up and we're going to watch Ryan O'Donoghue whenever he goes out to qualify. I do want to note Sean Merriman.
Let's go in the cockpit with him. I want to see where he flips on the traction control.
No joke. That's a real speed. That's a real speed right there. When you're closing in on the absolute track record, which to be fair was set at night. you're doing, if you're closing in on that in the daytime, you're doing something right. Of course, everything in Vegas is neon, right? You got neon garage, neon oasis. There's Ryan O'Donohue as he sits on pit road in the 14. He's getting ready to roll out, Sam. We're gonna get in the car with Ryan. And Sam, walk us through a lap here at Las Vegas.
Well, you're going to get up to speed. I personally like to get up as much speed on that apron as I can to generate as much heat into the tires quickly as possible. The first lap, typically for these drivers, is going to be a throwaway. But, different drivers can handle this car under loose conditions, and that first lap is very, very loose. But some drivers can really handle it. If they can pull off a very fast lap. Entry here is going to be low. You want to stay below those bumps, but look at the wheel as it moves in reaction to those bumps. And then you want to go middle off because that's the fastest line. Anything lower than that, the car's going to get disrupted and a little loose. Now, coming around here on the first lap, Ryan O'Donohue is on the high side, generating heat again in the tires, and he's going to let his second lap be his hot lap. So he cuts the course off a little bit there, maybe just a tenth or a little less than a tenth that he's trying to save there, and get the car all the way to the white line as best that he can, and then middle off and maintain speed as the car will allow. And then again, he'll do the same thing through 3 and 4, hugging that bottom line, hoping that the car will stay stable. Right there is where it gets very loose. You see him fighting the wheel coming out of 4, and again he cuts the course and goes down to the apron and turns a 30.643, and so just great driving there by Ryan O'Donohue.
That'll move Ryan O'Donohue to the provisional pole. Let's check in with David Dunwoody as he rolls the admin box, Blackmagic Studios number 28, out onto the Speedway. We'll not ride with David. We will monitor his telemetry. Eric Corder has checked in the chat. Apparently his internet went dead right during the drivers meeting, and so Eric Corder.
Oh no!
I
wonder what happened to him. He disconnected, and Sean Merriman has got into the server. We're glad to have Sean Merriman back tonight.
We most certainly are. So unfortunately, Eric Corder will be unable to go this evening. But
and Brian Sharp is not. Brian Sharp and Joshua Siegfried, they also are not in the server at the moment. And Joshua Siegfried was one of the top 5 in speed.
Yeah, he was one of the fastest cars in practice. Watching David Dunwoody as he goes through the paces for his qualifying.
And looking back, I noticed that there was, let's say, Eric Corder. He dropped due to packet loss. I didn't see what happened to Joshua Siegfried, but he or Brian Sharp are not in the server at the moment.
No, they most certainly are not. David Dunwoody's first lap, 10th quick. He runs a 31.587 for his first lap. Here he comes around turns 3 and 4. These cars are definitely dancing, Sam. Dunwoody.
Oh, it's going to be. Now, in all fairness, Mark, when these guys are out here turning qualifying laps, it is just everything that they're pushing to get out of that car. So they're really testing the limits of adhesion in the tire, steering in the corners. Just they are really pushing to get a fast lap.
That's something
the race starts. They're going to drop these speeds back by a considerable amount.
And that is something to consider too with how loose. I remember these cars are they're rough to handle for about the first 2 or 3 laps, so you got to really kind of tiptoe around. You're almost tiptoeing in qualifying trim, but then you get in the race with other cars around you, and you got to be really careful until the temperatures and the pressures in those tires start to come up. Sean Merriman not going to make it back around to complete his lap, and so Sam Merriman is not going to get a lap in here. It's going to be, as we head for the starting grid. We only had 11 cars take time, Sam.
Well, Sean himself, he's a very cerebral racer. He's one of the few this season that has really taken the initiative to work a plan and try to work some strategy into his races. I mean, he proved that at Dover, and it worked. It come out aces for him there. Maybe he'll be holding quad aces today.
Maybe so. On the pole with the first drawn pair of the night, Ryan O'Donoghue, 178.803 miles an hour. Greg Evans will start to his outside. Where have we seen that movie before, Sam? Kendall Paul will go from second. Kendall Paul and Dylan Godinez are going to go from the second row. Then it'll be Troy Carricker, John Hutchins, David Dunwoody, James Hodgson, Crash Neon, and Keith Graham in the 09. They're going to close out the top 10. Starting 11th, Donald Green. Donald, the last car to take time, not taking time, so lining up in order of iRating, are going to be Sean Merriman, Colby Pierce, Justin Osterman, Say Hey Lewis Hayes, Joshua Siegfried, Brian Sharp, and Eric Quarter. None of those three cars are in the server. We know the reasoning for Eric Quarter. His internet has gone out. No word from Brian Sharp or Joshua Siegfried. Right now, Say Hey Lewis Hayes would be the final car starting this race in the 15th position. So, kind of
see Lewis here in the Grand National Series races. He's a frequent attendee for the Archway Industrial Coatings Truck Series, but it's nice to see him here tonight on a Thursday in the Black Magic Studios Grand National race that we have here at Las Vegas. So go get him, Lewis.
That's right. Say Hey Lewis Hayes, one of the true.
And speaking of go get him, before we get too far, we have the Onyx Retro 79 Michigan winner in our chat tonight, Mike Rigney, with the big win Thursday.
Somebody let him win another one.
Listen, I watched that event. Nobody let him do anything. He took it. It was a fantastic event, and so congratulations, Mike, on your race, and Onyx for putting on such a great show.
Absolutely. You can watch that series Monday nights, 9:05 Eastern Standard Time, right here on the P1 Broadcasting Channel. The pace car is getting ready to duck on out of here,
All
Sam.
right, let's go.
Pull
them belts tight. Let's go racing, boys.
I was going to say you better reach up here and pull them tight again. This is about to get pretty hectic here. Greg Evans in different colors. He's sporting the duct tape livery on that car. And I bet you we're going to see at least one car covered in duct tape before all this is all over. Barney's got the green flag in hand. We are underway here at Las Vegas.
Now, pay close attention, folks. Things can happen very quickly on this first couple of laps. The tires are going to have to get up the temperature, and these drivers are going to have to really be on top of the wheels, make sure that they can keep the car under them.
Yeah, you do want to make sure that you just don't make a mistake here at the opening. Do want to point out Justin Osterman with the black flag. He's got the penalty to start this event. Osterman will have to come to pit lane, and
Dylan Godin is already brushing that outside wall in turn 4.
They're going to put him up there. They're going to put him up there for certain sure. They're going to put him up there for a certain sure. Sam, you're going to see a variation of lines all the way around this racetrack here tonight.
Yeah, there's some drivers that really they have a particular approach to this particular track to avoid those bumps in one. Some drivers really like to take a high entry and a low exit so that they can miss all those terrible mountains that lie in the middle of turns 1 and 2. The higher you go up the track, the less severe those bumps are. And Justin Osterman is coming out right here in front of the leaders. Ryan O'Donoghue takes a really high line up toward the wall.
Yes, he does. Ryan O'Donoghue is no longer, he is no longer he is your leader. The car in front of Ryan O'Donoghue is Mr. Excitement, Justin Osterman. Osterman did his drive-through and came back out right in front of the leader. And so
sure did.
He most certainly did. So Osterman is going to be racing hard to maintain his position on the lead lap. And there's Ryan O'Donoghue. And I got to ask, Sam, is that car in front of Ryan O'Donoghue helping him just get him a little arrow tight, a little bit of arrow understeer, and maybe settle that car down a little bit early? Or is it hurting him with the extra tire wear, or is it helping him with the draft? What does that do? What does that do when you've got a car right in front of you like that?
Well, it can affect the car in many different ways. Some of it depends on the driver's approach to how he goes in the corner, where he picks back up the throttle, the line that he takes. It's clear that Justin Osterman is running hot laps right now. He just wants to stay out in front as long as he can in hopes that he can get a caution. But to answer your question, the air off that car can affect Ryan O'Donohue, and that's why you see him moving his line. When he caught him in 3, he went to the top. When he got to him in 1, he went to the bottom. And now we have Dylan Godinez, who's going for the lead on the outside of Ryan O'Donohue.
Dylan Godinez does get around Ryan O'Donohue on the high side, pulls out his best Cole Trickle move. He'll move into the lead. Dylan Godinez from Ryan O'Donohue. Troy Carricker has moved past Greg Evans, and Carricker is now third. Troy Carricker trying to make some noise. He is not in the playoff picture any longer. They had not updated that from Troy Carricker's machine. But Carricker's looking good. He does the high, the low move through 1 and 2.
Big run right here.
Huge run. He's going to dive it to the bottom of Ryan O'Donohue. Troy Carricker's going for second.
I'm wondering if Ryan O'Donohue is just not maybe taking a page out of Greg Evans's book here and Kendall Paul's book, where he's just decided that he's going to let these jackrabbits go to the front, and he's going to try and save a little bit more tire so that he doesn't lose positions like he has in some of the previous races by pulling out the big leads.
Now that is the gamble, right, Sam? I mean, go fast.
It is.
Go fast early, and if you can go fast and build a lead, dare the other guys to catch you. The smart money is always, Sam, to kind of save your stuff, especially in a league like this. There are 4 sets of tires available tonight, including the set they started on. So with 2 stages and a stop in the middle of stage number 3, you don't have an extra set of tires. Watch Kendall Paul.
You really don't.
Yeah, Kendall Paul and Greg Evans have now dived to the bottom of Ryan O'Donohue. So too now David Dunwoody to the bottom of the 14. And here comes John Hutchins. And so all of those cars are playoff contenders. Dunwoody and Hutchins, remember, tied for last in the points. They need to get moving. They need to score some stage points. Greg Evans with a massive lead. He's not necessarily worried about points here. He's just trying to find a good, safe place to run. Dunwoody to the bottom of Kendall Paul now.
Yeah, Greg Evans is in a position where he can run as conservative of a race that he wants to run. He doesn't have to really push any issues. But you've got these other drivers who want to make sure that they're locked in for the finale, and there's 3 races to do it. So if you want to try and put yourself in a position where you could at least race that deuce for the championship, go ahead and see what you can achieve by playing out of strategies, whether it's saving tires for the latter run, pushing yourself to the front like Troy Carricker and Dylan Godinez has done, what we see those drivers have done. Whatever it takes to get that win, whatever it takes to either the pride factor comes in. You have some drivers, like you were saying, Troy Carricker is now out of the playoffs, and he probably would like to get that W before the year is out to hang his hat on. There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
These drivers are going to try and make the most out of their time here at the AMA.
Absolutely, and you've got James Hodgson. He's running along here in 9th spot. Colby Pearson 10th. Keith Graham 11th. Pearson Graham, they don't have anything to race for in terms of playoffs anymore. And so why not? Why not gamble? Try to go to the front, and see if you can't steal a win. The other thing that is kind of worth mentioning, Sam, is you see David Dunwoody continue to work to the bottom of Kendall Paul here. Dunwoody and Paul, they're having it out for 4th and 5th spot. David Dunwoody is going to have that as he continues his march. David Dunwoody has made up 3 spots since the start of this race. The thing that you also want to remember is a bad finish here. It doesn't hurt nearly as much at this point in the season as it did during the beginning. Now's the time in leagues where if guys aren't in the playoff picture, they're not in the points picture. You'll see drivers start to kind of hang it up. As we've got Greg Evans now battling for Dylan Godinez. Troy Carricker has passed both of these cars, and Troy Carricker is gone.
Troy's decided he wants to try and make his presence known here at Las Vegas, and some drivers really really like this racetrack, and they can't wait to get here. They love to race it. They've grown acclimated to its eccentricities, and Troy Carricker could very well be one of those guys that wants to get out there and show his moxie and see if he can't get a W as well. We'll just have to wait and see how things unfold. 200 laps is a considerable amount of laps here.
You know, it most certainly is. We're 15 laps through the event. You're watching Dylan Godinez and Greg Evans. Evans on the bottom, Godinez on the top. They're having it out for second. Interested observer is David Dunwoody. He is in the fourth position, and Kendall Paul right behind him is in.
Oh, David Dunwoody with a handful of car.
How many times have you said that this year, Sam?
Well, we're getting close to that 20-lap mark that we talk about on a regular basis, Mark, that we notice that it's around lap 20, lap 25, somewhere in that range where drivers start, their ability to save tire and what they can do with the tire begins to really show its results. And so we're getting close to that part, and we'll see which drivers are really conserving and which drivers have used too much.
Most certainly so. And remember, the stage break here doesn't come until lap 45. And so the tire fall off is going to happen, Sam, halfway through this stage. And we're going to see who saved them and who hasn't. Right now, Troy Carricker, as we ride on board with David Dunwoody. And Dunwoody is already headed for that top side, Sam. He may have cooked his tires. Kendall Paul works to the inside of the 28.
It doesn't take long if you're really pushing the envelope with these cars. It doesn't take long to really make those Goodyear Eagles angry and just not wanting to cooperate. You're off the throttle longer once those tires start wearing, and you can't pick up the throttle soon enough because the car will either get extremely loose for some drivers depending on the line, or it'll get extremely tight. Right there we see Troy Carricker catch a piece of the outside wall off turn 4.
Yeah, it's going to cost them the lead. Greg Evans is going to drive right past Carricker. And now Dylan Godinez seizes the opportunity. He's going to go to the inside. Troy Carricker brushes the wall, goes from the lead to third, and he lost a half-second lead and a full 1 second swing just at the drop of the hat. That's all it takes. Now Kendall Paul has moved around. David.
Happens fast. You're right.
Yeah, and Kendall Paul and Ryan O'Donoghue have now moved past David Dunwoody, and I think the good is gone off the years for that 28. Another slide coming off of turn number 4, and John Hutchins is going to try to take advantage and move the outside of the 28. Dunwoody, quick on the short runs, but he has cooked. He has cooked the tires. And which corner is it that goes away here, Sam? Is it the right front or the right rear?
Well, the right rear has a tendency to really go quickly just simply because you want to pick up so much throttle coming off the corner, but it's equally as hard on the right front because when you get that oversteer condition, you're just coming off of 4 and the car just wants to go straight to the wall. You're really oversteering just to try to keep that car from hitting it. So again, it really depends on the prowess of the driver and how he's approaching his particular, just how he approaches his particular stance on driving this particular racetrack.
Most certainly so. Now we're watching Hutchins and the car of Crash Neon. It's numbered 0 on the track. 8 in your program. Hutchins, big loose off of turn number 4. There goes Neon, and there goes our buddy James Hodson in the forward-facing 88. A new paint scheme on that 88 tonight. We'll go ahead and get a closer look at it. Yeah. There's James. The familiar...
Probably something to celebrate that victory that he had.
Yeah, the familiar chrome 80, the familiar chromed bronze number 88. It's still facing forward though, Sam.
Well, if it's not facing forward, it's not James Hodgson.
That's right. When he painted that car, Ryan O'Donoghue now underneath Dylan Godinez, and he's going to go for second. So O'Donoghue and Kendall Paul have saved their tires. Clearly, Godinez, Carricker, and Dunwoody used up their stuff pretty early. O'Donoghue now to the bottom of Godinez, and this is, Sam, going to be a race of comers and goers.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how some drivers who have proved in the past that it is their it's it's their you know their signature way of racing, like Sean Merriman, who paces himself in such a way that he wants to be faster at the end of a run than he does at the beginning of a run, or like Lewis Hayes. Lewis Hayes is a very methodical racer as well, and he likes to race and let those tires be available to him at the end of a run also. So it's just different styles for different drivers, and what we're seeing up front, as you alluded to, there are some drivers as we're getting around, that between that 20 and 25 lap mark, that they're starting to back up to the drivers who decided that they wanted to save at the beginning so that they'd be there at the end.
You're right, Sam, and it's very much a tale of two halves here in this first stage. We've approached we're at lap 25, coming to get 26 in the stage. Remember, caution is going to fly at 45. Dylan Godinez got really high coming off of turn number 4, and Ryan O'Donohue continues to work to his inside. And what I've noticed,
they're fighting this thing out. Yeah, they're really fighting this thing out. That's some great racing, and I'm going to say that to go this far already, 25, 26 laps into the event, and these guys are still going at it this hard, it's a testament to the quality of drivers we have here in the AMA.
It most certainly is. The other thing I wanted to point out earlier, Sam, is that as we get into this championship, as drivers, as drivers begin to fall out toward the end of the season, that happens in every league where you get toward the end and participation drops a little bit. A bad finish, like let's say something bad happened to Greg Evans, a bad finish here does not hurt him nearly as bad.
It doesn't.
As it would have had it been 10 races ago. We're in round 30.
Oh, go!
Contact
to the wall hard. Oh, and they make contact almost again through the middle at the tri-oval. Wow! And he's apologizing to Ryan. He knows he just really overdrove that corner and got into the wall. So he really smacked that wall hard. I'm just wondering if he may have gotten wheel damage, but he's still racing on the outside there.
Most certainly is. These two welded. Left door handle to Godinez, right door handle to Ryan O'Donohue, and we've got cars already on pit road. That was Donald Green you saw. He is moving toward his pit stall. Donald Green already on the pit lane. But Godinez and O'Donohue, they continue to run side by side. Now, who's got the advantage here,
That's
Sam?
incredible.
Is it O'Donohue rolling the bottom, or is it Godinez up there in lane 2?
Well, the preferred line for a lot of drivers is where Godinez is. Where Ryan O'Donohue is racing on the bottom, he's out of the throttle a lot longer. However, the lower that he can keep it in 3 and 4, it gives him a little bit better throttle off. When he's coming off of 4, he doesn't have that wall in jeopardy. He really can moderate his throttle control a little differently. Dylan Godinez, on the other hand, is in a preferred line, and that line is a little less likely to use as much tire. So it's really a balancing act for both these drivers. I think over time you save more tire by running that bottom line like Ryan O'Donohue is doing as he completes the pass on Dylan Godinez. But those drivers just proved over the last 10 laps of what they're capable of doing in this event. Now we find Lewis Hayes. John Hutchins is in the wall in 1 and 2, and Lewis Hayes is going to now crack the top 10 after he started in the 15th position tonight. So Lewis Hayes, again, is just slowly, surely, just letting those laps come to him, and he's making up spots.
Yeah, there he is. Say hey, Lewis Hayes in the number 83 machine has gone to 10th spot, and he is slowly but surely catching that train in front of him. That's Colby Pierce up through Troy Carricker just in front of him. You see the front 3, Evans, O'Donohue, and Godinez. Those are the 3 cars that have broken away. But say hey, Lewis Hayes, very quietly and very slowly reeling in this group. We've got our first poll of the night. Would you rather have short run speed go fast now? Or are you going to hold your cards and wait them out, Sam? That's the poker of Las Vegas. We've already seen Godinez, Carricker, and Dunwoody go for it now. But they might be paying the price right now, Sam. David Dunwoody back to 8th. He's got crashed, or 7th now. He's got crashed knee on his outside. Troy Carricker, he went up and took the lead earlier, and he is sideways. Hang on to it, driver. Hang on. No, Dunwoody gets him. We're going to have a caution. Caution is on the Speedway. Troy Carricker had a moment or 3 coming out of turn number 4, and finally that car came all the way around with him, Sam.
Wow, that's it's usually very it's very fortunate that the car just did not hard brake right. I'm interested to see. I'm going to get in the car with him here. 1, 2.
He's
out. Yeah, he's out of the throttle. He's just trying to control the car now.
And some
Dunwoody just scraping him is just he was able to keep him pointed in the right direction.
Might have been a little bit of netcode for Dunwoody as well. Let's look at this on board from Troy Carricker. Watch him saw this wheel, Sam.
Yeah, he has a handful of race car.
Here he goes. Watch this. There, it's starting to go now. Right. Don't want to turn that far right. Now we'll come back left. Now right up. Too far. He's coming back. He saved that thing twice. And then I think Dunwoody straightened him out a little bit. Otherwise, he'd have spun that all the way down to the grass and backed it in the fence on the other side of the front stretch there. So almost a fortunate set of events, a fortunate set of circumstance there for Troy Carricker. Not so for David Dunwoody, although Dunwoody has not pitted for repair. So,
well, there's only 5 laps to the break.
10 laps.
But
the break is 45.
Back, if he's already back, then 10 laps.
Yeah,
so
10 laps.
If he's already in the back, if he needs repairs and they're extensive, he should take advantage of both cautions. But
my other thought was, and we're going to take a look at David Dunwoody's machine here. My thought was
I'm looking closely as well.
That might have been a little bit of netcode too, Sam. It might have forgiven him. I don't see much damage, if any, on that Mustang.
I really don't either. I mean, if there's any, I would think it would be on the right front of the car. But yeah. I don't see any damage on this car.
No, and so it could have been, as Gary Godso says, forgiven, Sam, with the contact being netcode. It could have. The system could have easily, the simulation could have easily said, nope, that really didn't happen. And David Dunwoody marches on with no damage at all. Of course, he'll have a button on the steering wheel that will tell him whether the car is damaged or not and where. Lights are still on the pace car. Greg Evans is
this car's straight.
Yeah, I don't see any damage at all. Now, Greg Evans is your leader. Ryan O'Donohue, Dylan Godinez, Kendall Paul, James Hodgson round out your top 5. Donald Green has pulled his machine off of the racing service. Sean Merriman pitted 39 seconds under that yellow, and this has allowed Mr. Excitement, Justin Osterman, to effectively make up a lap, Sam. He was right in front of the leaders. Yellow gets Mr. Excitement back into the action.
Yeah, even though Greg Evans had such a pace that he had jumped out to almost a second lead, what does it say about Mr. Excitement, Justin Osterman, that he was able to come out in front of the pack and stay there?
I believe you're just about right, though, Sam. Well, for one, he had clean air on the nose for the entire time, and that is of tremendous help. The other thing that I think, Sam, is it's, as you say, he was running essentially qualifying laps. Every lap.
Yeah, he was pushing the car, but even after the 20, 25, 30 lap mark, I mean, he still had enough pace to stay out in front of Greg Evans. So maybe Justin Osterman has something for these guys tonight. Now that he's back on a level playing field, we will see what the 53 has under his sleeve.
We most certainly will. He does own, by the way, Sam. Right now, Justin Osterman owns the fastest lap of the race, nearly some 0.3 of a second quicker than leader Greg Evans. Do want to give a shout out and a big hello to Shelby Carricker. She is back out here supporting Troy. Thank you so much, Shelby.
Well, we'll send up some prayers for you, Shelby, for a continued fast recovery from your surgery. And we hope it was nothing serious. And we're thrilled to have you back here in the AMA series watching these races.
We most certainly are. The green flag is back out for the Deuce, Greg Evans. He reaches out and he'll try to run away from Ryan O'Donoghue. I wonder, Sam, if with the caution, some of those guys that displayed that ferocious short run speed might be able to use that with the tires cooled off.
Me personally, I have not seen where a heat cycle makes a big difference on these tires at Las Vegas. I've just not seen it. There may be some drivers that feel that it does, but myself, I believe that these tires stay pretty even through a heat cycle like that. If they have that kind of wear, they're going to continue to have that kind of wear.
Most certainly so. I didn't know if maybe once they cooled off, if you got 2 or 3 laps where they were.
Yeah, well, logically speaking, you're dead on. You're exactly right. But just my experience here is that I've really not seen where there is a big difference in the tire once you run through a caution and you stay on the racetrack. You're going to pick back up where you left off. The only difference would be is if you have considerable amount of laps and then you spin the tires on a restart.
Speaking of Troy Carricker, Shelby, there he is. He runs along in 13th. He led this race at one point, but to that point, he got up and brushed the wall a little bit, and I think that might have taken some of the steam out of that 94. He might just be waiting on the caution to change the tires. We had noted that there was a large amount of fall off on that 94 machine once the tires got hot, and so he may just be nursing it until he can get to a caution, until he can get to the stage break. Ryan O'Donoghue.
It's very unlikely he can go a lap down now.
Yeah, no, he's just going to kind of hang out and keep the powder dry, Sam. Meanwhile, we saw Kendall Paul and David Dunwoody battling. Dunwoody has, now that the tires have come up to temperature, fallen back nearly into the clutches of James Hodgson. Hodgson's up to 6th here, Sam.
Yeah, but see who's right behind him? The gentleman we were talking about earlier, Justin Osterman, as now he's going to be making a bid for that position. Or you were talking about James Hodgson. I'm talking about John Hutchins.
Well, John Hutchins is to the outside here. He's got Mr. Excitement, Justin Osterman, to his inside. And the interested observer here is Lewis Hayes. Lewis Hayes is going to take it to the outside of Mr. Excitement, going down into turn number 1. And I don't know, Sam. Lewis Hayes is a pretty smart guy. I don't know if I would put my car to the outside of the 53. But there goes Lewis Hayes, an immense amount of trust for Lewis. There he is to the outside, and he's making a bid for 10th on Justin Osterman, and that's big for Osterman. He needs those playoff points, Sam. He's a playoff driver, and Lewis Hayes just dropped him out of the top 10.
Happen.
Yeah, he dropped him out of the top 10.
Well, now the pits are closed, and the drivers will be making another circuit or so before we bring out. Oh, and Osterman all the way to the wall. The glue has him there, and he slows down considerably as he brushes the wall through 1 and 2.
Yes, he does. We saw Troy Carricker get into it just a little bit as he battles with Keith Graham. That is the back of the pack. Sean Merriman, by the way, came in. He had a lengthy stop under that last yellow, and he is riding, Sam, some 4 seconds even behind the pack as we flash back up to the leaders. It's Greg Evans, your leader. Ryan O'Donoghue is second. They've got Dylan Godinez in third, Kendall Paul, and James Hodgson now round out your top 5. Hodgson has gotten around Dunwoody. Move the Battle and Britt.
Oh, that was a battle, too.
Yeah, move the Battle and Britt into 5th. Here comes Colby Pierce. He's going to try to take a spot away from Dunwoody.
Dunwoody is... Oh!
That's Crash Neon.
Crash is on the infield.
He saved it, Sam.
All right, man. Caution is out.
Well, he hasn't saved it yet.
For the caution.
He hasn't saved it yet. Now he's got it. Watch this bit of country driving, Sam.
Oh,
He's going to get up here. He's going to
I'm
tap the
telling you.
wall. It doesn't glue to him. He gets off of it, but when he gets off of it, it spins right in front of Hutchins and say, "Hey, Lewis Hayes." He's going to nearly go down the pit road. He doesn't do that. He fights that car through the grass. He is not yet under control as he crosses the Legends track the first time. He's still spinning out almost down by the start finish. He's going to go down the Legends track again. He's still in the grass. He has not yet
Look
saved
at
that race
his
car.
hands on that wheel. That's insane.
He wrecked that car. He wrecks this car,
What?
race fans, for almost a mile and somehow doesn't really hit anything after that initial wall rub. Watch it from the cockpit. Here he goes. Now that was huge. He missed the pit. He missed the.
Once he catches the wall, he doesn't want the wall to hold him there and him lose tons of track position. So he compensates to get it off the wall as quickly as possible, and that input to the wheel just sends the back of the car around. And now look at those hands. Look at them.
My goodness.
Then he gets on the grass here. He hits the transition back to the asphalt. And he gets the car righted again, but now he's saving the back end between the transitions. There's grass on the car. he's still John Deere moment here as he's still cutting grass. Wow.
He most certainly is. We've seen two of those saves now, Sam. As the field has come for some new boots. I think everybody. I think it's going to be 4 tires all the way around for each one of these drivers. Ryan O'Donoghue slides into pit stall number 1. Evans into number 2. Kendall Paul overshot his pit box just a little bit. That is going to cost him, Sam.
Oh, yeah. Just a few tenths of a second can cost you several spots on pit road, and we're going to see Kendall probably drop a couple of positions here. But he's plenty fast, and he's a savvy racer. He'll be able to work his way back up to the front sometime, provided that he can avoid all the things that may happen back in the field. But as I was telling our viewers, turn four is going to be where the action is, and so far that's what's happened.
It has not disappointed, Sam. We are under caution for the end of stage number 1, 48 of 201 complete here in the Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series. Roll the dice 301 from Las Vegas. If you haven't already done it, make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1, Sam. We are five subscribers away.
Wow.
From 1,400, and wouldn't that be a big one? $13.95 on the board. Would love to have you with us here at P1 Broadcasting.
Viewers, quick, all you viewers, get a hold of your friends. Tell them to subscribe to the channel and see if we can't get to that number.
Most certainly so, Sam. That's a huge thing, and it's another milestone in this wild ride. Sam, you've been along for most of it. Myself, Gary Godso, Kyle Clinworth, Jacob Collins, Dre, everybody that does the graphics, Julian Altena. That's a huge moment for us to be that close. And so if you haven't already done it, make sure you ring the bell, subscribe to P1, get us to 1,400. Donald Green says he did that and didn't know why the caution didn't come out. Sometimes if you spin off the racing surface into the grass, Donald, it won't it won't trigger the caution because that's not the racing surface. It'll only do it if you're on the apron or if you're on the apron or the racetrack itself. So there are certain places, and the grass at these quad ovals and tri-ovals is like that. If you're in the grass, it doesn't necessarily cause a caution as long as you get back on the racing surface at minimum speed.
All right, all our drivers are getting back in formation here, 2 by 2 by 2 by 2, all the way back to the 10th or 12th spot.
They most certainly are.
So now we're getting ready to take the green flag.
Haha. That's a very nice gesture, Donald. Barney's got the green flag in the air, Sam. We are ready to go racing. Stage number 2 from Las Vegas in the AMA Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series is on, Sam. And Greg Evans.
Let's see if these guys can start this second stage and run it as fine as they ran the first stage. Let's see. I would like to see some more great racing like what we saw in that first stage.
I'm with you, Sam. I'd love to see another long green flag run. Colby Pierce, it is worth mentioning, has dropped Kendall Paul down to the 6th spot. He is working on James Hodgson. Colby Pierce is the quick runner at the moment. Pierce looking to the inside of Hodgson. He's going for 4th spot, and I think he's going to get it, Sam.
Ooh, we're 3 wide going into 1 with Osterman and John Hutchins and Crash Neon. Neon's on the bottom, and he'll be able to pull this pass off. Wow, that was close. A little early in this run for 3 wide. They're
still going at it, Sam. Neon now to the bottom of David Dunwoody, Osterman, and Say Hey Lewis Hayes is trying to pick his way through that mess. Say Hey Lewis Hayes finished in the top 10 in the first stage. He's trying to go to the front too, Sam. But Neon and Dunwoody side by side in front of Lewis Hayes, not able to move forward any further.
Big drive into the corner there. Crash Neon, you could really see the momentum as he dove the car really deep into 1.
You most certainly can. Speaking of momentum, here comes Colby Pierce. He's going to go to the bottom of Ryan O'Donohue and Dylan Godinez all in one fell swoop going into turn 3. Colby Pierce is going to be leading this race in another couple of laps, Sam, if this keeps up.
Well, we saw in the first stage that there were drivers that didn't want to mess around. They wanted to get to the top spot as fast as they could, and Colby Pierce is clearly one of those drivers in this second stage as he's making a vie with Greg Evans. Now, Greg Evans is probably just going to let him go. He doesn't want to run Colby's race. He wants to run his own. But these first few laps in this stage are racy.
They most certainly are.
Oh,
we're 3 wide. Lewis Hayes, big move on the bottom. Say Hey Lewis Hayes.
Oh, that was so close. Kendall Paul went to the bottom, and Lewis Hayes with a ton of momentum just about made contact, but both drivers make it through safely.
And we're still 3 wide. That's Troy Carricker coming to the front. He goes under James Hodgson and Crash Neon all the way to the top. He'll lose spots in wholesale fashion. Here comes Troy Carricker, but here comes Say Hey Lewis Hayes. He's going to try to drive underneath buddy Greg Evans as they head down through turns 3 and 4.
So much for slow and methodical for Lewis Hayes as he jumps up here into the 4th spot, and he decides he wants to see what he can get out of that number 83 machine tonight.
Say Hey Lewis Hayes is going for it. Normally he's known to be a guy that saves his stuff and waits things out. Not so much right now. He's going to the front, as is Troy Carricker. Troy Carricker finished second to last of the runners in that first stage. And he's coming to the front. He gets by Crash Neon. He's working on Dylan Godinez. But the guys who want to go, they're going now. Right now, it's the short run. They want to go fast now. It's the short run prevailing over the long runners. And this is big. If they can get out there and establish a lead, Sam, is that a situation where with the limited tire sets, you're almost banking on caution flags, Sam?
Strategy can play into this, as some of these drivers may do, but we were just discussing this at the end of the first stage of how Justin Osterman was able to keep out in front of the leaders with that fresh air on the nose of his car. He's able to steer the car a little bit better and not have to fight the car with a little bit of the aero push that you get when you're in traffic. And so Colby Pierce may be experiencing some of that, but we also saw drivers like Carricker and Dunwoody and others who went to the front very quickly in the first stage, and their tires wore out on them so fast it really didn't matter if they had clean air. They just began to drop off speed based on the fact that they didn't have tire left. There's just so many variables that play into this particular kind of racing here at Las Vegas. You're really not sure whether to bet on odd, even, black, or red. It's really a gamble sometimes.
Do you think, Sam, that's something that is stylistic? So it's how you use the throttle caution on the Speedway. It's David Dunwoody and Keith Graham have come together in turns 1 and 2. Dunwoody is on the bottom of Graham, and Sean Merriman is there in the back. Now we're gonna have a look and see what has transpired here. That all starts with John Hutchins and Keith Graham. Hutchins gets sideways and Dunwoody nowhere to go.
I think they were all checking up. That whole line of cars really slowed down. I think John Hutchins was actually checking up to keep from hitting the 53 machine, and Keith Graham just did not get slowed down enough.
Yeah, there they are. That all starts with Kendall Paul. He got out of the power a little bit earlier, I think, than Justin Osterman anticipated, and as a result, it checked up everybody in line. And
An accordion, yeah.
As it always happens with the concertina, Sam, David Dunwoody and Keith Graham at the back, they're the ones that get the worst. Caution is on the Speedway, and David Dunwoody already on pit lane to effect repair, and you got to hope that he doesn't have the tires checked. Otherwise, he's going to be in deep trouble come that second stage. My goodness, I keep hitting the microphone, cutting it off with my cheek, Sam. Dunwoody is not changing tires. The car is not up in the air.
No, but that car's running. You can see fire coming out of the exhaust. So he's just trying to fix the damage that he got. Fortunately, front to back damage like that probably is not going to be as detrimental as losing control and hitting the wall here. Because if you hit the wall at these speeds, it's really going to be dire.
Yes, it will. Your leader is that man right there. That is Colby Pierce. Again, Colby Pierce is your leader. Ryan O'Donohue is second in the number 14. There he is. Say hey, Lewis Hayes. He's worked himself up into the third spot. What a wonderful run for Lewis Hayes. Greg Evans in the deuce. Powered by duct tape this evening, and wouldn't some of my competitors love to put some of that stuff over my mouth sometimes? He is fourth. Dylan Godinez is fifth. Crash Neon in sixth. There's Crash. Seventh, Troy Carricker in the number 94 machine. James Hodgson, the Ford-facing 88, is eighth. Kendall Paul, he runs along in ninth, and rounding out your top 10, Mr. Excitement, Justin Osterman. We touched on the troubles and travails of John Hutchins, David Dunwoody, and Keith Graham. Sean Merriman was back on pit lane for another lengthy pit stop, 49.8 seconds for Sean Merriman. And you got to wonder if he's got damage or if he's just kind of wanting to hang out in the back here, Sam.
That's a very good possibility. Either one. I don't see a lot of damage on his car, nor have I seen where he's really pushed the envelope with that car tonight. I don't know that I've really seen him really keeping a pace that I know that Sean Merriman is capable of keeping. You know, he missed the last event, not by choice, but simply because of league rules and point inches.
Now I've got a thought, Sam. And I know this is dangerous when I have thoughts.
It depends on what's inducing the thought.
So you've got three sets of tires in the pit lane for this race. You've got you've got two stage breaks, and you're going to have to stop in the middle of the third stage. So it's basically three mandatory pit stops. What if Sean Merriman or somebody in this field didn't take tires at the first stage?
Between the two stages, and that's exactly what he did at Dover.
Yeah. What if he's
so then a caution, then a fortunate caution fell out at an opportune time in the race, and when other drivers did not want to utilize that last set of tires, they opted to stay on the track. Sean Merriman goes in and gets his extra set of tires, and he affords himself to jump out to a tremendous lead and win the race at Dover. So you're exactly right. I think that strategy has to come in play in some of these instances if you want to try and win some of these races. And Sean Merriman he's an excellent example of a driver that's willing to do that.
Yeah, why not? Why not roll the dice?
That's an excellent question. Why not? I wish we saw more drivers that would utilize the opportunities that these races afford them. If you don't have the speed, or if you're mired down in the middle of the pack, or if you're using too much tire on the long run and you know you can't maintain speed with the leaders, then you use the advantages of different things in order for you to try and put yourself in a winning position.
Mike Rigney.
It's a gamble.
Yeah, Mike Rigney in the chat. You know, I love that about his league, calling the stock car races for Mike. You know, when you've got less tires than you do number of pit stops required to make the distance, it makes the racing very interesting. Colby Pierce is not making this very interesting. He had built a lead of over a second. Colby Pierce has once again started to run away from this field. He's got Ryan O'Donohue in second, and O'Donohue isn't really facing much fire from Lewis Hayes. Crash Neon has moved to fourth around the top side of Godinez and Evans. Crash Neon
was running through the infield not too long ago.
He did everything but wreck that car, Sam, and he's now fourth and looking for third to the high side, but he's got the deuce on the bottom.
There's several drivers here tonight that have shown that they're bottom feeders and they've got long range speed. Ryan O'Donohue is one, Greg Evans is another, and some drivers are much happier in the middle lane, especially through 1 and 2. But we're going to see. We're getting close now. We've got a few more laps before we get to that 20 lap mark where these drivers you'll start seeing a little difference in the tire and who's going to be moving forward. I always look for that particular precipice of the run to see exactly how drivers are going to be able to handle the rest of the race.
Now, does the caution flag in the middle of that change anything? Does it make the tires last a little bit longer, Sam, now that they've cooled off, or is it simply a tread wear thing?
Well, it pushes that window, that 20 lap window. It pushes it back. So if they run 20 straight laps on green flag, in my opinion, this is just my observation over the years. If they push 20 green flag laps, then you're really going to start seeing who's saving, who's not. But if there's a caution in that time period, then it just pushes that mark back. So if there's 3 laps of caution, 4 laps of caution, then you just extend that 20 lap mark. Again, I don't know that it really saves you anything other than just the laps.
There you go. Troy Carricker makes the move on Crash Neon. Meanwhile, Mr. Excitement, Justin Osterman, he's gotten around Dylan Godinez for 5th. And say hey Lewis Hayes. Now Mike Rigney says he's not just a pretty face tonight. I thought say hey Lewis Hayes was pretty all the time, Sam. And he's driving. He's holding a pretty wheel. He's got that baby up to third, and he's hunting second.
I am so impressed to see Lewis up here running up front. Usually Lewis is, I don't know that he's raced in a Grand National race in the AMA this year, but usually he's always mindful of those that he's racing with. He wants to be considerate of the drivers. Respect goes a long way with Lewis Hayes, and so
very much a gentleman
really
for
be
sure.
Up here running and pushing, for him to be up here and pushing that car a little bit harder in this particular stage, I don't want to say it's out of character. That he's more than able to race. I've seen Lewis race well and fast and win races, but usually it's a different approach. I'm glad to see that he's trying something different tonight.
Standing in the gas, Lewis Hayes, he is up to third. He's hunting second, and he's got Greg Evans in tow in fourth. There aren't really very many battles other than this one on the racing surface. Everybody else has kind of started to spread out, Sam. The tire save is in effect, and you got to wonder how long Colby Pierce's tires can hold on out there. He stretched it out to a 3/4 of a second lead over Ryan O'Donohue, much as he did in the first part of the stage before the caution. But you wonder just how long those tires are going to hold on.
Oh, I agree 100%. And then what we see also behind this trio that we're watching closely is Justin Osterman is slowly beginning to make his presence known to these drivers as well. As I think Lewis is probably going to allow Greg to go on this high side here through 3 and 4. Nope. Greg just backs out of it and decides to fall back into his normal line.
He most certainly does. And say hey Lewis Hayes all over the rear spoiler, the rear deck lid of that number 14 machine, Ryan O'Donohue. Say hey Lewis Hayes looks like he wants to go.
Again, it's just really good to see him up here being racy with these drivers. He's more than capable of doing it. Greg is really good middle off of 2.
Yeah, that tells me, and you can kind of see visually Keith Graham with a black flag. He's going to have to serve that coming down the pit lane. But now say hey Lewis Hayes has gotten underneath Ryan O'Donohue. He's got the fender there. Let's see if he can pull up to the door and maybe make a pass. Greg Evans is trying
under him.
Yeah, he's under him, and Greg Evans trying to figure out which line to go through. Meanwhile, here comes Mr. Excitement, Justin Osterman to the bottom.
It wasn't going to take long. Once Justin Osterman caught this group, he's going to try and pass them as fast as he can. he's going to make his presence known, and we see Ryan O'Donoghue doing a crossover on Lewis Hayes. Now Lewis Hayes all the way up to the top. Keith Graham is taking his car behind the wall and into the garage area and called it a night. The 09 tough night for Keith Graham.
While we
now
watch,
see Ryan in a familiar position. When we saw he and Dylan Godinez racing door-to-door for 10 laps in the first stage, Dylan Godinez comes across the microphone in the server, and Dylan Godinez says, "Ryan, that is some of the best racing that I've enjoyed this season." And so if you don't think that these drivers aren't having a good time, you're mistaken.
they are having a good time. I'll tell you who else is having a good time. Justin Osterman went by Greg Evans, and Greg Evans passed him right back. Those two are having a battle as well. But Say Lewis Hayes has now cleared himself from Ryan O'Donoghue, and Lewis Hayes wants to go. He has started now to run down Colby Pierce over a tenth quicker that last time through. And Greg Evans says, I want some of that action. He's going to pull to the outside of Ryan O'Donoghue.
Well, the Deuce and the 53 have had their share of racing each other this season, and so maybe Greg just decides he would rather keep the 53 behind him than in front of him, and so now he's going to follow the 83 of Lewis Hayes into third spot, and they're going to see if they can't run down that 42 of Colby Pierce.
They're going to give it a shot. Lewis Hayes chopped another tenth off of it last time. Lewis Hayes is coming. It was nearly 0.8 of a second. Lewis Hayes has got it down under 0.6. He's been a tenth of a second quicker than Colby Pierce the last two times through. We're going to monitor this time as well. But I tell you what, the 83 is coming. We'll jump on board. We'll get you some telemetry and enjoy the ride, Sam.
Oh, this is going to be good. Turn your TVs up or your devices up. See if we can't get a little noise out of it.
You can visibly see Lewis Hayes catching Colby Pierce under 0.3 of a second now. He was 0.2 quicker the last time through. It's not a matter now of if Lewis Hayes gets to Colby Pierce. It's when.
Oh, now the Deuce will have something to say about it.
But Evans is going to have something to say about that. He's going to make the move. And now Ryan O'Donoghue is going to get under Lewis Hayes. So Lewis Hayes goes from catching the leader to fourth in one fell swoop, Sam. And now Greg Evans is looking, he smells blood in the water, I believe. O'Donoghue's going to make it 3 wide.
They are 3 wide. Greg Evans in the preferred line in the middle. Colby Pierce saves it off the wall.
So now Colby Pierce is going to go from first to fourth in 2 corners because Lewis Hayes is going to get underneath him. And now O'Donoghue and Evans are going to do battle. Meanwhile, Colby Pierce, I think, has really hurt the tires on that car. They just will not stand up to a full stage of punishment like that. Justin Osterman's
off the wall there.
Yeah, Justin Osterman's going to come to the bottom. Colby Pierce bounced it off the wall. And next up on the hit parade is going to be Dylan Godinez. But Pierce just used his stuff up and sliding again off of turn number 4. It is worth noting that Sean Merriman is now 8 seconds off the pace. I do not believe he changed tires on
I don't think he's taking tires. I don't think he's taking a set of tires.
No. And David Dunwoody, that car is wounded. Dunwoody is a couple of seconds back of the wounded car of John Hutchins. So really only the top 10 are in the front group, and the front group is all together. And there's James Hodgson. He is 10th. You can tell though, Sam, the sun has gone down. The lights are turning on. The track is starting to cool off, and it's going to get good for this final stage. 81 in the air, 85 on the track. We're going to check back with that here in about 50 laps because this baby's going to cool off. These cars are going to grip up.
The grip is going to increase, and the testosterone is going to rise. It's going to get good.
It most certainly will. We watch Greg Evans as he races along with Ryan O'Donoghue. This is the best battle on the circuit, other than James Hodgson has pulled underneath and gone around Crash Neon. That's for 9th, but these guys some 3.7 seconds back of this battle for the lead. And Ryan O'Donoghue, you've got to be thinking he's, again, just kind of going to school here, Sam.
Oh, there's no question. He's in session. There's no question that Ryan O'Donoghue, especially the way that he ran the first stage, and and Greg Evans is probably smart enough to know that Ryan is not just a great racer, but he's a student of the hobby. And so he probably knows
Well, there he
that
goes.
Ryan is really trying. Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say. Greg probably knows that Ryan is going to school on him, and Greg doesn't want to give up all of his secrets about where he's letting off, where he's picking the throttle back up. He may be changing things up a little bit. He may even let Ryan O'Donoghue get by him before the stage is up, just so that he doesn't learn too much. But I think that Ryan O'Donoghue is taking this opportunity to try and make himself available at the end of this race to give Greg Evans as much of a competition as he can.
Now I got to ask Sam, when you're running along in second, you're Ryan O'Donoghue. What are you looking for out of the car in front of you if you're trying to learn as much as you can? I've got specific things I might look for, but what are you looking for? We'll see if we can't compare notes.
No, there's a big run on the outside this time. Ryan O'Donoghue, as he goes across the start-finish line on the outside of Greg Evans, as there's a vie for the lead this time. I'm not ignoring your question. I have particular things that I look for as well. If the field of view affords me the opportunity, I like to see where they're letting off the gas by the flames coming out of the exhaust. I also pay close attention to the bumper that's in front of me and to see where they're letting off, my closing rate of speed, and then where they pick the throttle up as well. Because, again, when you let off the throttle, there's a telltale sign, and when you pick up the throttle, there's a telltale sign in these cars. And so those are all things that I watch. But I also watch the line that these drivers are running, whether it be on the bottom or if they run the middle or if they're high in, low off. There's so many different aspects of what the driver in front of me is doing that I want to try and learn as much as I can, especially if I believe that they're a faster car than me or a better driver.
You know, that's a great point. I'm going to add something to that, Sam. I try to listen to their cars. I know that in stock cars that may be a little bit impractical, but in the open wheel stuff,
it is a little bit more difficult. Yeah,
you can hear, especially like let's say you're racing at Homestead or Texas, an oval, or Kentucky, an oval where sometimes shifting comes into play, especially downshifting. You're trying to listen to the car in front of you to hear where they shift and when.
Yeah, now in these particular cars, you can, that is one of the most significant times that you can hear these cars is when they're shifting. But in the Grand National cars, there is really not many races at all that these drivers would see in these cars. So it's hard to hear them in the driver's seat.
It can be, but that was something else, kind of I wanted to point out.
That's a great point.
Yeah, if it's a track where they shift, you might listen to where they're shifting at. Kendall Paul has gotten around Justin Osterman. Osterman has fallen back a little bit, and now he's into the clutches almost of Troy Carricker in seventh. But Justin Osterman had run his car up to fourth spot, and now the good is gone off those tires, and he is just trying to survive here for the next couple of laps. Troy Carricker has maintained his spot. Remember, he had fallen all the way to the back of this lead lap. 13 cars all still on the lead lap, but he had fallen to the back at the end of the last stage, and so he's rallied very nicely. Troy Carricker has into that seventh spot, and he might yet get one more. But it's all about Greg Evans.
This next time by, once the place comes by, we'll have the caution this time by.
It is all about Greg Evans and Ryan O'Donoghue at the front of this field, though. They have not been more than a tenth of a second apart in the last 10 laps. And Evans, he's going to look to the top side, trying to come to the line, maybe steal the stage, Sam. He's not going to quite get there, is he?
Well, it's 10th place. 10th place.
Yeah, it's 10th place.
10th place has to come across the line.
So he doesn't have him at the line. Does he have him yet? Does not. Caution.
There we go.
So Greg Evans.
If he'd have passed him through 1 and 2 and the 10th place car hadn't crossed the line, it's whenever the caution comes out.
He most certainly may have. He gave it a shot, Sam. But Greg Evans comes up just short. Ryan O'Donoghue is going to be your winner at stage number 2. Greg Evans second. How about Lewis Hayes? He runs third in the stage. He'll have the inside for the for the restart at the stage. Dylan Godinez, Kendall Paul, Justin Osterman, Troy Carricker, James Hodgson, Colby Pearson, Crash Neon will round out your top 10. And for John Hutchins, David Dunwoody, it's a chance to work on your cars. For Sean Merriman, I'll bet he takes tires this time, Sam.
Oh, no question. He'll be taking tires. And we can see what Sean Merriman's capable of in this next run. I think that the majority of these drivers are going to probably split this particular run in half. You're going to see pretty similarly who has what in this last stage. I think that 45, 50 laps will be about all these drivers. You may see some that'll short pit, but the benefit of short pitting is not going to help too much if you go in too early.
Now, if you're somebody like Merriman, you might short pit it thinking, hey, if we get a caution, well, a caution wouldn't help you if you short pit because he'd go to the back of the line anyway. That's the drawback of saving that set of tires. If you come to take them, you're going to go straight to the back. But we are going to.
The hope is that you will. The hope is that you will get multiple cautions. So as these drivers take their second set of tires for the third stage, and they know that they'll need one more set of tires in the middle of this stage, you're really banking and hoping for a late race caution.
There you go. We're going to watch the race off of pit road, Sam. Who's going to win that one?
David Dunwoody.
I don't know that Dunwoody took tires. I don't think David Dunwoody took tires. 8.3 seconds on that stop for David Dunwoody. I'd bet you a $1 poker chip at Caesar's Palace that there are not fresh tires on that 28 machine. And he still only
see what happened with Lewis Hayes here. He was our third place car.
Dropped back to 8th. He was 3 seconds. I take it back. He was 3.5 seconds longer.
Oh, he overshot his pit stall. He overshot the pit stall. He slid through his pit stall.
Yeah, I was going to say time on pit road was about 3.5 seconds more than Greg Evans. Time in the box was the same.
His pit stall.
Yeah, so that's usually what that is. But Dunwoody,
he drove up to the front this last stage. What's to stop him this time?
Well, I'll tell you what. It's a gamble from David Dunwoody. 8.3 seconds in the box tells me he either took 2 or he took none.
2 tires at this particular track is going to loosen the car up more. Like, you're really going to want to. I mean, he's World of Outlaws wing sprint racing that car at times tonight. So I just don't know that it's going to benefit him to get more loose.
Sam, David and I had that debate. Actually, it's funny you mentioned that. We had that debate tonight before this race began. Dunwoody is a Central Pennsylvania guy. Big wing sprint car guy, World of Outlaws guy, Pennsylvania posse and all that. I am very much an Indiana. Take the wings off the 410 sprint cars, make them drive them. Indiana Sprint Week guy, USAC guy, and it's interesting when he and I talk sprint cars because you would think, two sprint car fans, right? But it's almost like comparing Formula One to NASCAR. They're two very, very, very different things, and very rarely is a driver able to excel in both as we get ready to go back to green. Very rarely is a driver able to excel in winged and non-winged cars, Sam.
They certainly produce a whole lot of different excitement, but they are definitely worth the watch. And now we're back on the green.
That was something that I told my good friend Jesper Orman. He joined us. He was in the States from Sweden, and I took him to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway yesterday. He had never been, so we spent the day in Speedway, Indiana, and I told him, I said, I wish that he would. I wish, one, we had more time because I would have shown him more stuff, but also saying...
they're 3 wide in turn 4!
Yeah, Dunwoody's already paying the price. He's back. He's gone from 4th already back to 11th spot. I don't know that move on the tires is going to pay off for the 28. He's going to be the last car on the lead lap here in pretty short order, Sam.
Well, we also, we were talking about strategies and what Sean Merriman might be up to. Another scenario that could play out in Sean Merriman's favor is let's say a caution comes out.
Big lick from Colby Pierce. That's Colby Pierce?
Yeah, he and Crash Neon. Yeah, right below him.
Colby Pierce flattens the right side of that 42. He's out there. He's going to go for another, it seems. But Sean Merriman, he's not riding around anymore. He has gone to 10th, and he's looking at Crash Neon for 9th here. Neon, meanwhile, is going to try to drive it to the high side to say, hey, Lewis Hayes.
Oh, Justin Osterman looking outside of Kendall Paul.
Yeah, those boys are trying to put it 3 wide. Meanwhile, Troy Carricker.
Yeah, these guys want to get to the front.
Yeah, Troy Carricker's on the bottom.
What I was going to say is the other variable for Sean Merriman. Let's say this run in this particular stage goes 20 laps. He could come in and take advantage of those fresh tires, and then just run to the front.
Whoa! Car on the wall is James Hodgson. James Hodgson and Crash Neon hard in the backstretch wall.
Oh, he is so far off speed. I think he has right front damage on this car.
Yeah, James Hodgson, and he's bringing that car to pit lane. Crash Neon has bent the nose on his car, and let's have a look and see what transpired there, Sam.
I don't think that he actually saw the run that Crash Neon had on the outside. I think he was just going to blend on up toward the wall, and Crash Neon had such a big run. I think that actually hurt him in the server apologizing. But as hard as he hit the wall on the right front and the skew of the car coming down pit road, I believe that might be the end of the night for James Hodgson.
It's either going to be that or a very lengthy repair. James Hodgson sits on pit lane. David Dunwoody has fallen all the way back to 12th, so he is no longer a factor on whatever tire strategy he's attempting. Dylan Godinez has gone to the lead over Ryan O'Donoghue. And Justin Osterman now, Mr. Excitement, is 3rd. Greg Evans has dropped to 4th. And Troy Carricker is 5th. And Carricker is coming, Sam.
There's a lot of drivers that are going to really want to get to the front as quick as they can. It's, the field, 15 cars tonight. But, buddy, they are really racy, especially all the drivers that remain in this event. These I don't know that there's one driver that wouldn't have a chance to try and win this race if all the variables fit for them at the end of the night.
Yeah, if the cards.
Oh, Carricker hard in the wall, bounces down, hits Merriman.
And Sean Merriman.
Significant contact for the 94.
It is. Sean Merriman has driven his car to the front. We've been keeping an eye on him as he drops to the bottom of the deuce. Sean Merriman just kind of almost drove at golf cart speeds for the first 2 stages of this race, and here he is. He's 4th. He's going for 3rd on Ryan O'Donoghue. He wants another, Sam. He is coming in a hurry.
Well, he knows he has fresh tires. He knows that he has a set in the bank. So why not go ahead and push the limit on this particular set and hope that caution that could happen in the middle of this, in the early part of this stage or the latter part of this stage. Either way. He really, as we say here in the South, he's in the catbird seat.
Well, right now he is in the 2nd seat. He's going to try to chase down Dylan Godinez. That'll relegate Osterman to 3rd, O'Donoghue to 4th, and Greg Evans 6th. And how about say, hey, Lewis Hayes? He's still in that top group. He has got Troy Carricker to his immediate left. But say, hey, Lewis Hayes isn't done here either, Sam.
I had a feeling that with the pit stop situation that happened to him, and as well as he ran that 2nd stage, he knows he has pace. He knows that he has enough pace that he can keep up with the top 5. And so why not go ahead and try and see if you can get the most. Oh, and he really pulls up on the bumper.
Yes, he does.
Troy Carricker there, and so now he's going to be making a move. I can't help but think that Troy Carricker really sustained a little bit of damage as hard as he hit that wall.
Yeah, that was a pretty good lick, but you're not going to pull it into the pit lane here. You've got to drive it, Sam. And it doesn't appear to be slowing him down any. Sean Merriman all over Dylan Godinez for this lead now. Godinez to the bottom, or Godinez to the top, Merriman to the bottom. We've got a new leader.
Oh. You think Merriman might have something to prove? They're let's just be complete. Let's just put the card. We're in Vegas. Let's put the cards on the table. Merriman was not happy that he didn't get to race last week.
No, he was
been
not.
Faithful all season. He's been faithful all season. The point system worked not in his favor, just simply because that's just how it works, and the rules are the rules. He's not happy about it, but why not show up and really plan a strategy to put yourself in a winning position here? That Sean Merriman is saying, hey boys, you may have kept me out of race, but I'm still here. So kudos to Sean Merriman to do what he's got to do to win a race. I'm excited for him.
Well, and that's the teammate to Dylan Godinez as well. And so, I don't know how hard Dylan's going to fight him, but is he up there? Is he up there to run interference for Dylan Godinez as well, right? Meanwhile,
that's a great question.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the battle for third rages. Ryan O'Donoghue, as the front two have pulled away just a little bit, Ryan O'Donoghue has been working over the back of that 53 machine to Justin Osterman for quite some time, and now he's decided to pull it to the outside of Osterman. So stand by that battle. We still have 10 cars within earshot of the leader. David Dunwoody and Crash Neon have slowed down considerably. They are 10 and 12 seconds, 11 and 12 seconds now behind the leader. Both those cars with damage, and Dunwoody also with the benefit of not having 4 new tires on that car.
Troy Carricker, I question whether he had damage on that 94 machine or not, but certainly hasn't hurt him from making some passes. I'm almost sure that Kendall Paul, Greg Evans both are conserving tire here. We're not even 10 laps in on this particular set of tires. And they're probably conserving, considering that this run's going to be a little longer. They may stay out as long as they can on this particular set of tires before they pit, so that they'll have the freshest tires they can possibly have for the end of the race.
There you go. Greg Evans drops to the inside of Say Hey Lewis Hayes, so move the deuce forward one more spot. He's going to be 6th. Move Say Hey Lewis Hayes to 7th, and Kendall Paul is 8th. Meanwhile, Justin Osterman and Ryan O'Donoghue continue their fight, and they have now caught the DG Motorsports machines of Godinez, who's gone back to the lead, and Sean Merriman.
Again, it doesn't hurt Merriman much at all to see what he can do with the car with a fresh set of tires. He's been sitting on a step and Osterman's trying to take the air off the back of that 18 machine right there off of turn 4.
Yes, he is. Now, Osterman, he'll climb to the high side. He's looking for second spot. And Ryan O'Donoghue's just sitting there thinking, please don't wreck in front of me. Please don't wreck in front of me. But my thought goes back to David Dunwoody. If he took tires, he only took 2 on that last stop. And so let's say he's got a set of lefts or a set of rights.
How long was the stop? How long was it?
8.3 seconds.
He only took fuel.
Okay, so he's going to have a set in the bank, right?
He only took fuel. That's not long enough for a right side tire change as well.
Now, my thought is, had he only taken 2, does it do you any good to put on, let's say, if you put on lefts now and do rights later or vice versa, does that help you?
In my opinion, it really doesn't. The balance of the car changes. Of course, then you have to take into consideration of how much fuel. Oh, and Osterman is really getting on the back of the Merriman machine and got him loose there coming off of turn 4. Merriman has this set of tires and he's working a strategy, but he does not want to be the cause of a caution. He does not want to be involved in a caution.
No, that's the only catch. If you've got the advantage like that, you don't want to be the guy that brings out the caution.
Exactly. It's a moot point at that particular juncture. And So he may serve himself a little bit more purpose if he can just stay either ahead of Osterman, or now that this whole pack of cars is catching him, just to run a line and allow them to work around him. Oh, big dive here with Ryan O'Donoghue to the bottom.
I don't think that was a design dive so much as maybe Merriman went to the outside to try to build some momentum, but Osterman's going to
let off. Yeah,
Osterman's going to slide into second. O'Donoghue now looks to the inside. He's going to go by for third maybe, and he's got the deuce of Greg Evans, Kendall Paul in that 72 or 78, and Troy Carricker. They are all lined up, almost freight train formation here to get by Sean Merriman.
Look at this pack of cars we've got here racing for the lead. We're 15 laps into this run on green flag and a fresh set of tires, and there is we have less than 2 seconds that separate the top 10 cars. This is great racing.
Hold on to her, boys. Big dive from Ryan O'Donoghue. Door handle to door handle. Contact between he and Justin Osterman. O'Donoghue could not quite make that move stick, but he drove that 14 deep into turn number 3, Sam.
Well, let's just bring some recall back to our viewers tonight that Justin Osterman had to serve a penalty at the beginning of this race. When he came back out off of pit road serving that penalty, he came back out in front of the leaders. When he came back out in front, he stayed in front. He was able to keep enough pace and enough speed that he could stay out in front of the leaders and earn that lap back the hard way. So we believe that Justin Osterman does have some speed tonight. The question is does he have that racing around other cars? It's one thing when you're by yourself, but will you be able to maintain that kind of speed when you're in traffic?
I'll tell you who's maintaining some speed in traffic. It's the man we're on board with right here, Greg Evans. He is your points leader by a wide margin. Justin Osterman loose. Justin Osterman, big wiggle on the bottom as he went for the lead. That's going to open the door for Ryan O'Donoghue to go to his outside.
Well, don't think for a minute that Dylan Godinez is just wanting to move over for anybody tonight. Dylan Godinez is racing hard, and he's wanting to see a victory himself. These drivers are going to be pushing these cars to the limit now in this last stage. There's no sense in holding back. If you run what you brung at this particular point. I know it's still 80 left in this event, but these drivers are going to just get the most out of these cars that they can for the rest of the race.
They most certainly will. Ryan O'Donoghue mounted that charge on Justin Osterman, and he might have overheated the tires because here comes Greg Evans. Meanwhile, Osterman, big lunge for the lead going through turns 1 and 2.
Look at the wiggle on that Godinez machine as he comes off of turn 2 on that high side. Now, Godinez has already got some experience out here. The question is Osterman going to go to the bottom and give him plenty of room? Oh, that's great racing right there. And Godinez gets that big run off the top side again. And now he'll lead one more lap as we come down into turn 1.
He most certainly will. Osterman just can't get he just can't. He gets in there so deep, and he has to check up in the middle of the corner lest he run into Godinez, and that allows Godinez to just draw even back on the straightaways. And then it seems like Godinez is much better through turns 3 and 4 here. Osterman, big loose again, chasing the car up the hill.
So loose.
I thought he was going to slide up into Godinez there for a second, but that's going to open the door for Ryan O'Donoghue to try to come back one more time on Osterman.
Well, that's the downside when you drive the car in so deep into the corner in 1 and 3. The natural reaction of the car is it wants to wash up the racetrack, and so you have to let off the throttle so much in order to keep the car on the bottom and not causing an incident. Whereas Godinez is letting off just enough early that he can get back into the throttle a little bit quicker, center off, and that's why you're seeing this side-by-side racing.
Most certainly will. Do want to point out to the fans at home.
They're so close.
We kind of talked about this earlier. The track is cooling, Sam. It's now 81 in the air, 84 on the track, and so the track we're going 3 wide, Sam.
I think Osterman thought Ryan O'Donoghue was going to stick it in there, and so he stayed in the middle of the racetrack. But now we may very well have a race for second going into turn 1.
I think it wasn't that O'Donoghue got there. O'Donoghue got right to the left rear corner of Justin Osterman, and that really took away the air off the rear spoiler and loosened that 53 car up. Um,
Oh, and Greg Evans is going to get a double here. He's going to get a twofer.
yeah, here goes past. There goes the deuce past Osterman, and now Greg Evans is going to start looking at Dylan Godinez pretty hard for the lead. He's going to want to work him over, get by, and get gone. We are now 31 laps through this stage, and as hard we've seen it before in this race. Dylan Godinez ran away early, but they all come back, don't they, Sam?
Oh, they sure do, especially the drivers that are good at conserving these tires. And it's not going to be long. I mean, we have a four-car race, but it's not going to be long before Kendall Paul is up here. And then watching and lurking, cue the Jaws music, you've got Lewis Hayes, who is also trying to make his way. Oh, and oh my goodness, Justin Osterman had a handful of car. He loses tons of momentum, and Kendall Paul is going to pass him. Crash Neon is a lap marker that's going to stay high on the racetrack and let the leaders by. Boy, it's getting exciting here.
It most certainly is. Greg Evans goes to the lead. Dylan Godinez is going to try to battle back. Crash Neon got out of the way and let the top 6 cars through before they hit turn number 3. Ryan O'Donoghue is going to start looking at Dylan Godinez here, and he's going to start looking pretty quick, Sam.
Well, Ryan O'Donoghue has already said it in his mind. He does not want the deuce to get away. He does not want him to get out of his sight. So he wants to get in behind him as quickly as possible, keep pace with him for the duration of when they make their pit stops. The question is which one of those two drivers is going to make his pit stop, and can he hit his marks? That will be the key, is to make sure that you hit your marks and get as fast of a stop as you can get.
Most certainly. So not only is it hitting your marks, but it's when do you stop? Is it, are you dividing this thing in half? You're going to try to stop a little bit early. You're going to stay out a little bit longer. And if there's that caution, we know that that's going to benefit Sean Merriman to a T, Sam, depending on when it comes out. Although theoretically, we're approaching the point where you could make it on fuel even if you stop now, correct?
Yes, you probably could. Now, I'm watching this battle between Ryan O'Donoghue and Dylan Godinez, which we've already seen these two drivers go lap after lap after lap, side by side. But I can tell you right now that in Ryan O'Donoghue's mind is that I've caught you, Dylan. I really want to go, and I don't need to race you and use up any more tire than I have to. I want to catch that deuce. But Dylan Godinez he's racing for a position just as much as anybody, and so it's really going to play into the psyche of the drivers as how they approach the rest of this run before they start making their pit stops.
Yes, it will. And how much is Ryan O'Donoghue using up trying to get past Dylan Godinez, and how much is that letting Kendall Paul now have a say in this battle? Kendall Paul has arrived on the scene for the battle for second, and Kendall Paul, he might be looking at getting by both of these guys here.
Really, there's not a preferred line to do so. The hope is that when you're caught behind two cars that are racing this hard, like what he sees in front of them, is that you hope that one of those drivers is going to make just enough of a mistake to lose momentum. Maybe get loose off of 4. Maybe just check up from washing up the... Oh! And Godinez hits the wall. That's the mistake Kendall Paul's waiting for.
Yes,
and
it
he'll
does.
make the pass into third spot.
He does make the pass in the third spot, and he's going to waste no time in trying to get around Ryan O'Donoghue. Kendall Paul still has a little bit of tire left on that number 58, and he is coming hard, Sam.
He sure is, and time again we've seen all throughout the season here in the Grand National Series in the AMA. We have seen it time and time again. Kendall Paul is always there at the end of the race, making his way up through the field, and this week is no different.
Very quiet, but very quietly effective. Kendall Paul has moved into the third spot behind Ryan O'Donoghue. That's relegated Dylan Godinez to fourth. Justin Osterman is now fifth. And Lewis Hayes has started to creep back into that picture, Sam. It shows him hitting the wall, and that's happened several times now. I don't think he's actually hitting it. I think that's net code.
It could very well be.
Yeah, he's
Oh, Ryan O'Donoghue catches a piece of the wall that time. Now, if you're Greg Evans, you want to now that if you feel like you've saved enough tire, you really want to push. You want to push the second part of this run now. You really want to get out as far as you can, run as long as you can in the lead, and wait for others to make their decision to pit. And then you can gauge how long it is before you pit. You don't want to wait too late in that run, so that you're playing catch up too late. But you do want to pay close enough attention to get as many laps on those tires as you can, and be the car with the freshest tires for the end of the run.
Well, and we've seen this movie before where he's been able to build that lead, Sam, and then he's able to build that lead, Greg Evans is, and there you see the interval. It's now a second over Ryan O'Donoghue, where he's been able to build that lead, and because he's had such a lead, he's been able to stay out longer on his initial run, which then gives Greg Evans a huge advantage at the end of the race. It shortens that final
That's
stint,
exactly right.
Because he's able to save the tires. Ryan O'Donoghue, on the other hand, he's a go fast Charlie. He wants to go now, and he's just not been able to save the tires as well as Greg Evans, nor has Kendall Paul. Now, Kendall Paul is a little bit quicker lap over lap than Ryan O'Donoghue, but they're both losing to Greg Evans. Evans with 1/10 to 2/10 of a second over the entire field at this point.
Yeah, and again, that's the benefit of being able to save tire at the beginning of the run, and utilize that clean air once you get out to the front, and turn consistent laps for those tire that you saved. It is classic Greg Evans style type racing. It's always been his approach to races. He'll tell you that he's probably not one that he likes sprint racing as much, but when it comes to long runs, saving fuel, saving tires, Greg always seems to shine in those instances.
And we've seen that time and time again here in the AMA. The Deuce, unfamiliar duct tape branding on that machine, but the Duck is leading this baby. He's built nearly a second lead over this man, Ryan O'Donoghue, in the familiar 14. Kendall Paul is third. Dylan Godinez has fallen back to fourth, and Justin Osterman, Mr. Excitement, is sixth. And right behind him, you've got say hey Lewis Hayes. There is the lap car of Crash Neon in between Hayes and this man, Troy Carricker. Carricker is now seventh. John Hutchins is a couple of seconds behind Troy Carricker. Hutchins is in eighth. Colby Pierce is now ninth. He had led for part of this race, and Sean Merriman has fallen all the way back to 10th, Sam.
I would say that he utilized as much of those tires that he could utilize on this run. I guess he found out really quick how hard he can push that car.
Yes, he has. Now, in about 10 laps, we're going to get to lap 55 of this run, and so that would be about halfway. Would be somewhere between 145, 150, something like that, and then it'll be time to make the final pit stops. And I think that's what these drivers are shooting for. They've been 46 laps on their current run, Sam.
You could see many of these drivers now, unless you're back in the latter part of the top 10. You may want to try and short pit if you can't make up some distance and hopefully catch a late caution. However, you'll still, if you do catch that late caution, then you're out on old tires if anyone has fresh or still hasn't pitted. So there's just a lot of variables that can play out in the event that there may be a caution. We'll just have to wait and see. But you were talking about Greg's sponsor. Here where we're from in Hickory, North Carolina, there's a company called Schubert Tape. And so Schubert is a large manufacturer of duct tape, and Duck brand duct tape is one of the brands that they manufacture in this part of the state. So it's not uncommon from where we're at.
There you go. Sean Merriman has pulled his machine onto the pit lane. He's had enough. Sean Merriman has, so he's going to come get the new shoes with 70 laps to go. And there's the Duck man, the Deuce, Greg Evans. He is nearly to the point where he would put a lap on David Dunwoody. Dunwoody, of course, gambling on a caution here, not taking tires at the stage break, gambling on a late race caution, I believe. So there's Dunwoody, and he's circulating. Now, that's not a bad bet, even if you go a lap down, Sam, because he would be the only car a lap down.
He'd be the lucky dog.
Yeah,
right,
he'd be the lucky dog.
He
So
would
it's
certainly be the lucky dog.
and you'd go to the back pulling that strategy anyway. So it's not really going to hurt him to go a lap down, at least for the schedule he's on. Apologize for the stutters to the fans at home. That's just I think that's me due for a new PC, Sam. This one's getting kind of long in the tooth. It's almost 6 years old. It might be time to get a new one.
Well, somehow I think that's going to materialize in the coming future.
I think it might. David Dunwoody is just going to let Greg Evans go here. For the strategy, again, he's on. It doesn't really matter if he goes the lap down. Now, he doesn't want to go 2 down. But if he goes a lap down, it's not the end of the world for David Dunwoody. Greg Evans is your leader by a second over Ryan O'Donoghue. And this field is fairly spaced out. The nearest battle on the track is for 5th. That's Hey Lewis Hayes on the bottom.
Yeah.
And he's now decided he's saved enough, I think. He's going to try to go. And Osterman nearly gets into the outside wall going through turn number 3.
He sure does. Oh, and he hits it off of turn 4.
Yeah,
what he missed earlier, he made up for it.
I was going to say he saved it the first time, and then he got his money's worth the second time. That was a pretty good lick out of the 53. So I got to tell
David Dunwoody now calls his pit stop.
Yeah. So Dunwoody has had enough. He's going to try to come and get his pit stop done, and try to get his lap back here. I think is the plan. Short pitted a little bit, but Sam, I mentioned that we brought one of the Alliance IndyCar guys into to the Speedway yesterday. Have you ever seen a Swede eat a American cafe greasy cheeseburger? That was fun, Sam. We took old Jesper
greasy spoon cheeseburger. Huh?
We took him to Charlie Brown's in Speedway, Indiana, and got him a double cheeseburger.
Oh wow,
that's good soul food right there, Sam.
I'm telling you, Europeans don't. Their diet is a little different than it is here in the Americas, and so sometimes the food here can be a little harsh to a European palate.
Now I'll tell you this: it was a coin flip, and I flipped the coin, and I flipped the coin. It was either a greasy cheeseburger at Charlie Brown's or a tenderloin from the Mug and Mug. Justin Osterman
racing here.
Justin Osterman just about lost it coming off of turn number 4. That's going to let Troy Carricker move into 6th place, and Osterman's tires are completely gone, Sam.
This time he has really run that car to its breaking point, and this is the longest run that they've had on a set of tires tonight.
Yeah, it's approaching that lap 55. It's 55 laps on this set. We are now just about halfway through the run. Osterman nearly wrecked the car. Dylan Godinez comes to pit road.
There goes Dylan Godinez. Now he'll be the first taker, and he'll probably try and make up as much ground as he can here with a fresh set of tires in hopes that it'll be enough to put him back up into a lead position. However, I believe that some of these front runners that still have a lot of stability left in their car, they're going to push the run as far as they can push the run, so that last set of tires it'll be as fresh as it can over the last part of the race.
Now I will say this: David Dunwoody.
They'll run the tanks dry, I think.
Yeah, David Dunwoody is kind of the guinea pig, the canary in the coal mine for the coming to get tires and what the difference in speed is. He came out and immediately ran 30.882. Last lap 31.033 for comparison. Greg Evans 32.365 that last time through. And so the fact that the tires are making a second to a second and a half difference. Now Dunwoody did that so that he could get his lap back when everything cycles through, knowing he's got a set of tires in the bank. Dylan Godinez is going to complete his first lap, his first flyer. John Hutchins is in, Justin Osterman is in, but Godinez is going to complete his first flyer this time through Dylan Godinez.
Here comes Colby Pierce.
Yep, Colby Pierce on the
John
pit
Hutchins
lane.
Called his pit stop out. Boy Carricker.
But you're right. I think Evans and O'Donoghue are going to run this thing dry. Unless Greg Evans comes to pit lane now.
Kendall Paul could very well do so. He could do the same. Lewis Hayes may benefit himself to pit just a little bit earlier to see if he can close the gap. He's 5 seconds off the lead, which Evans is coming in.
Yeah, I was going to say, I saw the gap between he and O'Donoghue close, and I thought maybe Greg had a moment or something. But here comes Ryan O'Donoghue.
Here comes O'Donoghue. He and Kendall Paul
together now.
O'Donoghue! He just saves it. Did he make it on speed?
It has not yet thrown the black flag out at Ryan O'Donoghue. I think he's going to get away with that, but that was a moment getting on the pit road. He didn't even really lose all that much time to Kendall Paul.
That is amazing.
Yes, it was.
And Lewis Hayes will be able to hit his pit stall.
And that is going to cycle everything back around. Greg Evans is going to be your leader. Notice David Dunwoody got his lap back temporarily. But he's going to lose that lap right back here in the next couple, would be my guess. Second place should cycle through to Dylan Godinez. And Godinez is going to be 2 seconds behind Evans. Ryan O'Donoghue is going to come out 2 seconds behind Godinez. So Ryan O'Donoghue lost nearly 3 seconds to Evans in that cycle. Wow.
That's amazing. Do you show the entire split for pit stop? Do you show the entire split? Time on, time off.
We don't have that. I can see time
you just
on
see
pit.
The length of the stop.
I can see the time on pit lane and the time in the box.
Gotcha.
So time in pit lane, time in the box is what I've got available. I wish that we had the pit split, but that's not the pit splits. But that's not something that that ATVO does, unfortunately.
Well, now these green flag pit stops. What happens in instances like this, Mark, is that these green flag pit stops it separates the field so much, and so now these drivers are going to be getting a lot of clean air across the nose. The track temperatures are dropping. They're going to have more grip. They're going to be able to push the car a little bit harder, but the big downside to that is that it's very, very hard to make up ground unless a driver starts just using up more tire than they anticipated. It's just so hard to make up that time over the course of a run. Hayes should be able to catch Sean Merriman. He is probably going to catch him over the course of the run because Merriman had pitted so much earlier than he did. So that'll be a battle for fifth as Lewis Hayes is trying to work his way up. That time by, he was considerably faster than the 18. But behind Lewis Hayes, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because this will probably be the battle that you're going to be seeing is a fast charging Justin Osterman who's known for pushing the car as hard as he can push it. So these two drivers are going to be battling it out for that fifth spot as they're going to run up on the 18 in the closing laps, and that's going to be an interesting fight as we get to the final stages of this particular event.
I think Lewis Hayes might be okay. He's been just a tick of the stopwatch faster than Osterman the last couple of laps. Osterman pitted 2 laps before, say, hey, Lewis Hayes. Now, Sean Merriman, he's out there on 17-lap old tires, and Merriman is going to concede the spot to Lewis Hayes here pretty quickly, and that's he's going to concede the spot to Lewis Hayes pretty quickly. The next battle, I think, isn't going to be Osterman and Hayes. It's going to be O'Donoghue and Godinez. Ryan O'Donoghue is 4 laps fresher tires than Dylan Godinez, and so it's only a matter of time before Ryan O'Donoghue catches and patches Dylan Godinez. Ryan O'Donoghue is also considered...
If Dylan lets him pass.
if Dylan well, he might not have much of a choice.
They have been racing so hard all night long.
He might not have much of a choice with the tire differential. I will say this, Greg Evans has checked up the pace considerably. 31.617 that last time through. Now, he doesn't have to go full bore. Greg Evans doesn't, because he's got a tire advantage over Dylan Godinez, but he does not have the advantage over Ryan O'Donoghue. And so O'Donoghue, fast charging, and he's going to try to dispose of Dylan Godinez as quickly as possible. And that seems like it's a typical Greg Evans move. He's going to try to save as much as he can for when O'Donoghue eventually gets there.
Yeah, he wants to make sure that he doesn't overutilize what he has left if in case that there's a battle that is late in the race. Dylan Godinez, even though he is in the second spot at this particular point, it doesn't mean that Dylan Godinez is not in his car really counting the laps in hopes that he will catch a caution somewhere at between lap 175 and 190. If he can catch a caution within that window, there's a good possibility that he'll go in and get that fresh set of tires, and he's going to be a factor to be dealt with for the win.
So here's O'Donoghue. He's got the run on Godinez. Can he get by fast enough? That's the other question. Can he get by quick enough?
It's going to benefit Godinez. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it's going to benefit him just to let Ryan go here. Save tire, run consistent laps.
Well, true, because
allow yourself to stay, because he's got plenty of room before the next car gets to him.
Yeah, it's 3.5 seconds back to Kendall Paul. So
right.
You know, he's
just get in a rhythm behind these guys. Just get in a rhythm and just run the smooth the laps. Don't get racy, and then if that caution plays into your favor, then take full advantage of it. That's what you're working toward. If Godinez does have a fresh set of tires, it may just be Merriman that has a fresh set of tires.
It's gonna be Merriman and Dunwoody. We think we don't know. Again, we're basing entirely off of fans at home. We're basing that entirely off of supposition by how long the cars were in their pit boxes. We think
an observation,
also
observation,
an observation. Well. But we think that Sean Merriman, who currently runs long in 7th in car 18, and David Dunwoody, who is one lap down in 11th and would be the lucky dog, and so he would be back on the lead lap with that fresh set if a caution falls. We believe those two cars have one set of sticker tires remaining. The catch is they're going to have a caution to use them, and when they do get that caution flag and use them, they're going to restart in the back.
Yes, but fresh tires on the outside.
Oh, it's everything. You know,
especially with just 20 or 25 laps left in the race. Are you kidding me? There wouldn't be much of a field in front of you because you'd be passing them in wholesale fashion.
Speaking of passing, the battle now is Say Lewis Hayes has caught Kendall Paul. He has reeled him in lap after lap. Say Lewis Hayes, 5th. He is hunting 4th on Kendall Paul. It's worth noting that Troy Carricker and Sean Merriman are doing battle. I saw
that battle as well.
Yeah, that's for 7th and 8th. Merriman has it, and Sean Merriman is on old tires compared to everybody else. 25 laps on his rubber versus 15 for Carricker, and that means that Troy Carricker is going to make pretty short work of Sean Merriman here. There he goes. So move Carricker to 7th, Merriman to 8th, but it's going to be Say Lewis Hayes challenging Kendall Paul any time now, Sam.
He sure is catching him. There's no two ways around that. Their lap times that particular time by were very similar, simply because they were moving and navigating around the lap car of Crash Neon. But you can visibly, as you said earlier, and coining your phrase, you can visibly see where Lewis Hayes is closing that gap lap after lap after lap.
Yeah, and when you're the driver, when you're driving that car, put yourself in Say Lewis Hayes' shoes, and you can see the car in front of you for position. getting visibly bigger in the windshield. That's
it's such motivation.
It is motivation, but it's a huge fill up. I mean, you got to think, Sam. We've been at this now for a couple hours almost.
Yes.
These guys are getting tired. The level of concentration that it takes to do this at the level that they're doing it, it may not be physically tiring. I don't know how physically demanding these cars are, even with a direct drive wheel. But I can tell you,
even with direct drive and the bumpiness, it is demanding.
But even more than that, mentally, it is very demanding, and so you wonder just how much, the mental aspect of it. Your brain is pretty tired by this point, is it not?
Yeah. Oh yeah, the repetition begins to wear on you after a long run. Especially in the hobby. Really kudos to the drivers that show up week in and week out and run the official races that iRacing offers, because they offer full length races in all of these series, whether it's Cup, Grand National / Xfinity, or the trucks. They offer full race length races in iRacing for those particular divisions, and there are drivers that show up week in and week out and run those events. So yeah, you're exactly right, Mark. It can be taxing on these guys mentally to train yourself to get in there and do this for a couple of hours. Or if it's like you've raced, you yourself have raced probably dozens of Indianapolis 500s. And even in those cars, I can imagine how taxing that can be.
It can get very challenging from a mental perspective. I never had a problem at the beginning of the race or even at the end, as you see, say, Lewis Hayes dive under the lap car of James Hodgson. Hodgson's still circulating. He is 16 laps down, but a playoff driver, and so James Hodgson wants to continue. If there's an accident that happens, he might be able to pick up a couple of spots, and that could be big for him. Do want to give a shout out to Gary Godso, Luis Gonzalez Nunez. They're over on the Elite Racing Network calling qualifications for the Warriors for Peace IndyCar Series and the Mark Rubiales Photography Indianapolis 500. Qualifying for that very prestigious event is underway now. And so do want to give a shout out to those guys. We've got 28 laps to go here in the Roll of the Dice 301, the AMA Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series. As a reminder, if you haven't already done it, make sure you smash like on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the P1 Broadcasting channel. We are getting close. We are so close, Sam, to that 1,400 mark. 1,395.
Oh, it's so close.
It is so close you can taste it.
It's 5 people. 5 people.
We've been watching Say Hey Lewis Hayes reel in Dylan Godinez, big slide. I was going to say we've been watching Say Hey Lewis Hayes reel in Kendall Paul. Kendall Paul has been closing on Dylan Godinez the last several laps, and Kendall Paul is now there. That slide from Godinez, that let Kendall Paul get the huge run to the inside. The tires are now mad at Dylan Godinez, and he is going to fall into the clutches of Say Hey Lewis Hayes before too much longer here as well.
Oh yes, it looks like if things continue to play out, Lewis Hayes is probably going to have his best finish here in the AMA, as he again each lap is closing in on Dylan Godinez. But Sean Merriman, just to keep people up to date, Colby Pierce is now about to fall into the clutches of our leader, Greg Evans. And that has big ramifications for David Dunwoody, who was hoping, being the only car 1 lap down, that he would get the lucky dog in the event of a caution. But now Colby Pierce is about to become that recipient if Greg Evans makes that pass on him. John Hutchins, it would not be long before John Hutchins would fall into that same position.
Yeah,
Colby
and there
Pierce
goes Greg Evans
around.
There he goes. He goes around Colby Pierce, and so that's bad news for David Dunwoody, who was hoping for a caution to get that lucky dog and use his new tires. If that caution happens now, David Dunwoody is trapped a lap down. Meanwhile, We're going to have a battle for fourth. Say Hey Lewis Hayes is now pulled up to the back of Dylan Godinez, and so we're going to see a battle here for the fourth position between Godinez and Say Hey Lewis Hayes. We've got 23 laps to go here in Las Vegas. I don't know that there's any.
Sean Merriman is still in his car saying his prayers, eating his vitamins, asking for a late race caution. Sean Merriman is just begging for a caution at this point.
Well, and he needs it to happen soon because he's only about 10 seconds away from going a lap down. He's got less than a third of a lap. He's got less than a third of a lap before he's due to go a lap down. Kendall Paul has secured the third spot, and I'm surprised that Lewis Hayes hasn't made quicker work of Dylan Godinez.
Well, the aero could have a little bit to do with this, as it really begins to put a little bit more downforce, a little bit different air on the front of the car, and so it may just be pushing Lewis Hayes to be a little bit more cerebral and methodical about how he makes this pass. And we've already watched most of the race. Dylan Godinez is not an easy pass if he doesn't want to be.
No, he's not. Now, the cars he's racing around, Kendall Paul and Say Hey Lewis Hayes, they do have a 4-lap tire advantage on Dylan Godinez. Godinez was one of the first to stop. Sean Merriman was the first to stop. He's been out 40 laps on his run. Godinez 32. Everybody, Greg Evans 30. Everybody else 29 and 28 laps. So there is a significant tire advantage. 4 laps is significant on these tires, ladies and gentlemen, and so it is possible. Theoretically, Say Lewis Hayes should make quick work of him, but also Godinez was out there running around by himself, more or less, for a lot of this run, and so. That can kind of sometimes, if you're not around other cars, that can kind of get you out of your rhythm a little bit too.
Oh, it can. It sure can. And once you start getting racy with traffic, it could change. It could change everything about how you're approaching each lap than what you were when you were by yourself. It seems like that these 3 cars have really just, all the tires have equalized for these 3 cars, because Dylan Godinez is not going to let Kendall Paul get away. He's sticking with him very closely as he moves up into that middle line and utilizing that run off of the corners. And that's going to make it, he's already proved that he can run that line because he's been racing Ryan O'Donoghue up there most of the night. And that's going to make it extremely difficult for Lewis Hayes to make that pass into the 4th spot.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Say Lewis Hayes is going to have to get a run and stick it right on that white line, or he's going to have to almost rim ride it around the top. Now, Vegas, it doesn't have progressive banking, so there's not an advantage to running that top line other than just the handling characteristics of it. And so do note that, fans at home. We are 17 laps to go here. Watching the battle, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, Kendall Paul, Dylan Godinez, and Say Hey Lewis Hayes. Greg Evans leads it. He has a firm stranglehold on that lead spot. Ryan O'Donoghue 1.8 seconds back, and then it's 6.5 seconds. Another 6.5 seconds back to this fight. This group is about 8 to 8.5 seconds behind the leader. But it is the best battle on the track, and really, Sam, it's the only battle on the track. Everybody else is separated. Everybody else is separated by several seconds.
Out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is very difficult. Like I said, once it spreads out like this and the field has been thinned out, it's really hard to start catching cars in front of you. And these drivers have proved that they have that ability. But now that they've got into a pack, it's made passing a privilege in this particular instance. These drivers are really going to be working to try and get this last podium position. Kendall Paul has a stranglehold on it. And the 2 behind him, Dylan Godinez and Lewis Hayes, they want it.
Yeah, and all of these guys are in that playoff fight, with the exception of Say Hey Lewis Hayes. The top 4, Evans, O'Donoghue, Paul, and Godinez, they're all in position to try to win a championship. Say Hey Lewis Hayes is not. Now, I guarantee you that is on the mind of the driver of that 83. He's not going to take any chances that are going to eliminate a playoff driver as they come to get 14 to go.
Agreed.
He's not going to take any chances that are going to, at least on his behalf, eliminate any playoff drivers. He wants to get the best finish possible, and he can see that podium right up there in front of him. And remember, he was catching Kendall Paul earlier, but you're not going to see the same kind of big send out of Lewis Hayes that you might see out of, say, a Justin Osterman or a David Dunwoody
or
Dylan Godinez. Yeah, you're not going to see that out of, say, Lewis Hayes here.
No, you won't. He understands that these drivers have been going at it all season long. He showed, I believe, more than likely, knowing Lewis the way that I know him, he probably showed up just to test his skill, to see where he measures up, and just for the love of racing. And he's had a fast car tonight, and there's no reason that he would want to get up here and jeopardize somebody. Even if something were to occur, you could be reassured that it was nothing intentional on Lewis Hayes' part. He wants to do it cleanly, and he wants to earn the respect of the drivers that are around him.
What he wants to earn right now is that fourth spot. He's looking high, he's looking low. Godinez all the way up to we'll call it lane 3, and that's going to afford Lewis Hayes another run coming off of turn number 2. Yeah. Speaking of loose,
did Sean Merriman go in and get his last set of tires?
He has. So Sean Merriman,
I think he did.
Yeah,
I think he did.
He's cycled back. He's cycled back to nearly 2 laps down. And here's the thing for Merriman, he may not get back to David Dunwoody.
He just made the comment about it.
Yeah, he
said he was really saving that set of tires.
Well, and you don't get a refund if you don't use them, Sam. You better put them on. Here's the thing, He's 7 seconds behind David Dunwoody with 10 laps to go. And that would be a story because Merriman not in the playoffs. Dunwoody is. And Dunwoody is. And so Dunwoody needs that spot, currently tied with John Hutchins. Meanwhile, Lewis Hayes going to be able to work around Dylan Godinez and Kendall Paul and maybe steal a podium. That's what we're all watching. The lead is not in dispute. Greg Evans with a 1.9 second advantage over Ryan O'Donoghue. Behind this trio, Justin Osterman, Troy Carricker, and John Hutchins are all separated by several seconds. And so this is the only battle for position on the course as we see it, as we've now gone under 10 laps to go here from Las Vegas in the AMA Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series. Now, Sam, I don't know. I'm not driving the car, but I don't know that Lewis Hayes is going to mount a charge here.
He's riding.
He's
riding.
Yeah, I don't. I think he might be content.
Unless something comes to him, I can assure you that's exactly what Lewis Hayes is doing. He feels like he probably has had a good run. He knows that this is the first race he's run here. He doesn't want to jeopardize anybody's points positions anymore than he has to, and I just think that at this point he's probably just riding, and he really should be proud of the effort that he's put forth tonight.
Yes, he should, and so too Dylan Godinez. I mean, he's led this race. He's run up front. He started in the back. Dylan Godinez has had a whale of a night in fourth, and very quietly we've showed him a lot, but we haven't really called his name a whole lot. Kendall Paul, very sneakily and quietly, has put his number 78 machine into the 3rd spot. Haven't called his name a whole lot all day long. Colby Pierce is off the pace on the apron of the Speedway, and that could be good news for David Dunwoody because Dunwoody has a freshly shod Sean Merriman catching him in a big hurry.
Running down here, yeah.
Yeah, that gap is dropped to 4 seconds. It was at one point over 10, and so Merriman playing the tortoise and the hare game with David Dunwoody. But what has gone on with Colby Pierce? He's now back at full song. He might have just pulled over to let these leaders go, Sam.
It's amazing to me that our top 4 drivers were our top 4 qualifiers. The only difference would be Greg Evans and Ryan O'Donohue switching positions. O'Donohue was, of course, our pole sitter, but the top four positions were our top 4 qualifiers.
Yes, they were. Greg Evans started second. He is now the leader, and we'll flop back to the front. The battle between Godinez, Hayes, Kendall Paul, Dylan Godinez, and Lewis Hayes has solidified. It is no longer as hot as it was.
Settled out. I think it's settled out now. Yeah, no, I agree. I think we're just to the place now where the drivers are just going to ride it out to the finish and allow this to be lessons learned and a race hard fought.
It most certainly is, and I'll tell you what, Greg Evans, I'm sure is going to be happy. One, if he keeps everything moving in the right direction and he gets this win, he's going to be happy to have won the race. He's going to be extremely happy to have punched his ticket to the final round in Vegas with his his final round in Phoenix with his huge point lead, Sam. That's big.
You're also thinking, too, you have to keep in mind the next 2 events are Talladega and Martinsville.
And they're right.
If there was ever a high risk of being knocked out of an event and knocked out quickly or losing a big points advantage, those 2 tracks are going to be the culprits to do it. And so Greg Evans is probably thinking about those things, that if he can pull off a win here at Las Vegas, then he punches his ticket, and those 2 races will not be lingering over his head as much as they would be had he had a bad night tonight.
Yeah, it's back-to-back wild cards, right, Sam? I mean, it's those 2 tracks you have I don't want to say no control, but you have very little control, especially at Talladega. As Greg Evans comes by to get the white flag from Barney, especially at Talladega, you have very little control over your own destiny.
This is true. Even if you're leading, there's no safe place at Talladega. Even if you're leading, sometimes things befall you. If you're in the back, you catch into somebody else's mistake. It really, really is unpredictable what can happen at those 2 racetracks.
Yes, it is. There's the deuce, Greg Evans.
Because technically, you're going from the largest racetrack to the shortest.
Yes, you are. And there's Greg Evans. He will come off of turn number 4. Greg Evans is going to win here in the roll of dice 301. Ryan O'Donohue brings it home second. I've brought home the hiccups. Here comes Kendall Paul. There's Dylan Godinez. And Say Hey Lewis Hayes is going to round out your top 5. Justin Osterman comes across the line. There's Troy Carricker. John Hutchins Carricker would have been the last car on the lead lap. John Hutchins, Colby Pierce, David Dunwoody round out your top 10. Sean Merriman critically did not catch David Dunwoody for that 10th spot. And there's Shelby Carricker. Thank you so much, Shelby, for
you're too kind,
support.
Shelby.
Very much so. Very, very kind.
Get better soon, Shelby. Get better soon.
For certain sure.
Troy did do a great job tonight. Well, for all those green car haters, Greg Evans proves once again it doesn't matter what color the car is. He's going to take it to victory lane as fast as he can get there. So green is no inhibitor of the deuce.
It was not. Greg Evans is going to be your winner. Ryan O'Donohue second. Kendall Paul will bring it home third. Dylan Godinez, Lewis Hayes, Justin Osterman, Troy Carricker, John Hutchins, Colby Pearson, David Dunwoody round out your top 10. In 11th, it's going to be Sean Merriman, Crash Neon. He had his troubles today. He'll finish 12th. James Hodgson pounds the wall. He brings it home. Still running 17 laps down in 13th. Keith Graham, Donald Green, 14th and 15th. Credited, but not taking the start. Joshua Siegfried, Brian Sharp, and Eric Corder, the remainder of your field, Sam.
What a great run there at the end. Just a lot of green flag racing, green flag pit stops, drivers that are really testing their racing mettle and just trying to get the most out of their experience tonight. And Greg Evans once again proves to be out on top. Ryan O'Donohue, even though he had been able to keep some pace with the deuce earlier in the race, there in the closing laps, it just seemed not enough for him. But he continues to put himself in a prime position to be racing for the championship.
He most certainly does. And speaking of prime to win a championship, Let's see. There's Kendale Paul. We'll go ahead and bring him in. Kendale Paul, you've got Murph, you've got Sam Crow in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys. What's going on?
Another quiet, nondescript. I don't think we called your name, but twice the entire day. You had a bit of a battle there at the end, but most of all, just very quiet and very effective. You're bringing home third today, Kendall. Tell us about your day.
Yeah, that's just the main mission all night tonight was just score good points and just be there. I mean, I don't think we have anything for the 14 to the 2 at all at any part of the night, but I felt like we could keep the car underneath us, and but yeah, maximizing the points day. I think we only gave up 1 point to Godinez, and then we probably gave up a whole bunch to Donahue, but I think we should be able to put ourselves third in the playoff standings and pretty comfortably above the cut line. And that was the main mission going into tonight, because Talladega and Martinsville are kind of just a roulette wheel, and whatever happens. So to get as much points as we could tonight was a good thing. And I mean, I think best case scenario, who won there, Greg. He was already like 76 points ahead of me when I was in second there, just coming into the round of 8. So have him win, it doesn't really matter. So on that front, he's already locked in basically. So best case scenario for us there as well. So congrats to him on the win. But yeah.
Kendall, another great showing for you tonight. You're always the one that's going to be there racing at the end. Again, I completely concur with a lot of the things that you were saying. However, I'm really curious about, as you were talking about the last few races of the season, how these next 2 events can be such a roll of the dice, and they're so unpredictable. Is there a specific strategy? I mean, I know you could say, well, I just want to survive, but when you go into 2 races like Martinsville and Talladega, and those are looming over your head like a dark cloud, especially into the last run of the playoffs here, what is your mindset, and what's your approach about when you get to those venues?
Well, it all kind of depends on what happens tonight with the points and everything. They haven't been uploaded yet, so I'm not 100% sure where we are relative to the cut line and that sort of stuff. So that will tell the rest of the story for us at Talladega. And I mean, I tell my guys all the time, I have a plan going into the Talladega, and then I end up switching it because it's either too dicey or it's pretty dang calm, and I'm pretty confident with everybody, but. It all kind of just depends. Martinsville, I think we've run pretty well there in both series, so as long as we can stay out of the chaos, we should have a pretty solid run there as well. And just keep continuing the mission here is consistency and maximizing the points day and everything is the main missions going into the races. And like I said, it's going to all depend here what Las Vegas gives us points wise, what we do at Talladega, and then day of Talladega, it depends on what the field gives us.
Well, you've been a great representative to your sponsors, not only to the AMA series that runs on Thursday and Friday nights, but you run these sponsors on your cars too, and you're not shy about putting this car in a position where those sponsors can be recognized.
Yeah, that's the main goal as well. I mean, Archway does so much for us, for the league wise, and for me personally. So to have them on the car almost every week, it's an honor to have them, and I'm really glad that we can give them the consistent finishes that they deserve here in the AMA.
Speaking of those sponsors, Kendale, go ahead and shout them out, man. You've earned it. Yet another podium. Friends, family, sponsors, you're up.
Yeah, well, I'll continue on. Archway and Dutch and Coney's can't thank them enough. I mean, they are what makes this all possible, make the broadcast possible, and everything that we do. So I can't thank them enough. They've been an amazing sponsor to work with, and I also got to shout out Sean Mon and Jason Souther. Those two help us out a lot in their contributions to the league, and really we wouldn't be here today without them. So I can't thank them enough. Got to thank all the other sponsors: Black Magic Studios, I Have Inbox, Track Racer, Rogue Energy, all those sponsors put in some way, shape, or form into the league. So I got to thank them as well. Got to thank everybody here at the team and everything. It's I mean, James had some misfortune. John had some misfortune. I mean, really, I was also done when he had some misfortune. All the playoff cars had some misfortune, but like I told them, it's just keeping the fight and stay with it. It will pay off in the long run, and never know what will happen here at Talladega or Martinsville. So got to shout them all out. Got to shout you guys out. Here in the booth that makes this broadcast possible, and are here every week and make the broadcast sound amazing. And since it's Hate Texas week, I got to say Boomer Sooner, go OU. Here, horns down. Time to go to the Red River rivalry this weekend.
Oh, that's
so,
great. I'm a Longhorn fan, so.
Oh no!
I tell you what. That was something.
Not much of one this year, but still.
I've come to appreciate the college football rivalries a lot more since I moved to South Bend when I got married. I went to the school that I went to, Sam. Ball State had a historically bad football team when I was there. So much so that David Letterman, probably our most famous alum, used to make fun of the Ball State Fighting Football Cardinals every week, every Monday after we lost yet another game. I think we lost 25 in a row at one point. So, but I do have an appreciation for the college football rivalries now. Living in South Bend and having gone to several Notre Dame USC games, I can only imagine what the Red River Shootout, Cotton Bowl, and all that is like. So enjoy it, Kendale, for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to be watching on TV this year. I'm hoping at some point while I'm here at OU go to it, because that's the main game, and you just kind of got to embrace the horns down, boo Texas and OU. It's an amazing thing. But yeah, and then I got to thank all the friends and family that are watching out there tonight as well.
And if you're a Texas Longhorn, that's Kendale Paul, care of the American Motorsports Association, P.O. Box.
Bring him on this week. It's the rivalry week. You gotta have some fun.
All right. Well, we'll let you get out. We'll let you get out of here, Kendale. Thank you so much. Keep going fast and having fun, buddy.
Yep. Thanks. You guys have a good week.
We'll do. That
Kendale.
is Kendale Paul. For our second place runner, once again the bridesmaid. He's been the bride before, but the bridesmaid again tonight. Ryan O'Donohue. Ryan, I hate to keep asking you, but what are you going to do about that deuce, man?
Man, I don't know. I got to not make my own mistakes, and I think we can get him. Really messed up entry to pit road, and just had to chase from there. He just doesn't make mistakes, right? Can't bank on that. Just got to work on our own stuff, but proud of our effort tonight for sure.
If you need
learned here. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, if you need any inspiration on how to fly, I believe there's some to your right. You can just look at that, right?
Yep, right here in front of me. Yep, to the right monitor.
There you go, Sam.
I was going to say, you can't just don't get it into your mindset that Greg doesn't make mistakes, because he got into a sprint late in an event just recently and lost it in turn 4. And so, he is human. He has proved that he is human. But tonight
I don't believe
Ryan,
it.
Another great showing. Another great showing. But I noticed at the beginning of this particular event, you took a different approach. You actually did not jump out to a big lead. You allowed yourself to fall back a little bit, pace yourself a little more, kind of go to school with Greg Evans and find out some of the things that he may or may not be doing. Was that your approach to the race tonight?
Yeah, for sure. We like I said a couple weeks ago, the mile and a half, I think, are our weakest link in all of this. Can lay down those fast laps for sure, but Vegas, I know in the spring too, that one was mostly at night, most of the race, so a little different there. But yeah, definitely that first stage, wanted to back everything up and take our time, let the guys that wanted to race go ahead and race, and just find out what that pace was going to be for the race. And it definitely picked up as it got darker and darker.
The grip with the grip.
Yeah, and I found that line, second groove in 1 and 2 really helped me find a little more speed throughout the lap. It was really turn 4 that was my bugaboo tonight. Just just rushed it in 3 and kept trying to overdrive 4. But all in all, good points night. Good way to start these 3 races off. Nothing crazy happening. Can kind of feel a little better about Talladega and Martinsville. Both wild cards, but we're not starting from behind here, so definitely keep this momentum up in both series. Glad to have a day off tomorrow, though.
There you go.
Got just as much a chance as anyone, man. So congratulations on a second place finish.
Thank you.
And with that second place finish comes the microphone, Ryan. Friends, family, sponsors. You know the drill.
Yeah, I always got to shout out my girlfriend Bridget. She was sweating this one out with me. She brought a big pot pie home, so I'm gonna go eat some of that.
All right.
Hey, definitely Dylan and Greg too. Greg had a great race. We had a good little battle there for the stage, and Dylan and I ran side by side for it felt like 100 laps. So good on those guys. Congratulations to Greg, all the sponsors here, Mass Surgical Supply, Maxima Racing Oils, Heatwave Visual. AMA, like always, man, can't do all the admins. This is such a fun league. It's been a long year, but we're having a lot of fun doing this. All their sponsors, Archway Industrial Coatings, Blackmatic Studios, Track Racer, Rogue Energy, Admin Box, Marcus Hammond, Booth P1 Broadcasting puts on a hyper show. I hope anybody else that got watching enjoyed it, and all the people in the chat, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Great job, Ryan.
Yes, sir, Ryan. Keep going fast and having fun, buddy.
Thank you.
That's Ryan O'Donohue. He is going to run second to this man, Greg Evans. Greg, you've got Murph and you've got Sam in the P1 broadcasting booth. New paint scheme, same result. Was there ever a worry that O'Donohue had finally gone to school long enough and was going to get you figured out there?
There's always a chance. Of course, it seems like there's quite a few times during that race where whenever we have a restart, they would kind of settle in behind me, and I didn't want to be leading. So I tried not to let them learn too much. I kind of fell back a few times and didn't want to push it, and especially that last run. I felt like Ryan kind of was a little bit faster at the end of the second run, so I needed to work on saving tires, and I didn't want him to be behind me and kind of pace off me, so I kind of did the opposite and just kind of paced myself off of those guys and ended up working out.
Well, it sure did, Greg. It seems like everything that you're calling were things that I noticed about your race tonight. Of course, this punches your ticket into the championship race at the end of the year. I kind of alluded to Kendall Paul about, his consistency, but also about his approach going into the next 2 weeks, because these next 2 races are really just they're such wild card events with Talladega and Martinsville, and the unpredictability that they have sometimes. Is it your goal to go out there and win these races, or just survive and just be ready for Phoenix?
Talladega is going to be you'll see this is number 2 in the back most of the race. I knew we had quite a bit of points lead going into this round, but I really wanted to try to get a win tonight and just be done with it. Kind of enjoy the next 2 weeks. So Talladega will be throwing the parachute out and just seeing what happens. And 2 laps to go, we'll see what happens. And then at Martinsville, like I said, those 2 races are such crapshoots. I know we don't have a huge field of cars right now, but anything could happen. And I didn't want to have to rely on points if I didn't have to.
Well, that was certainly evident tonight as you went out to the front and held it. So great job tonight.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
I was going to say you might need a rules dispensation to lengthen the roof line on that car for the checkered flags you got painted up there. With that said, friends, family, sponsors, shout outs, Greg. The floor is yours, dude. You've wowed us one more time.
Yeah, appreciate that. I'm sure Sam probably recognizes duct tape. Used to run that a long time ago, and finally decided to put it back on the car for a few races. Sim Magic, Sim Shop, Sim Lab, Freightliner, of course. Thank you guys again for broadcasting it. and sorry, I got a cough. And AMA for hosting the league. They do a great job and keep everything fair, and it's been a great season. So hopefully we can wrap it up in a few weeks and take a championship.
Yes, sir, Greg. No doubt that you're going to be in that mix when we get to Phoenix. Keep going fast and having fun, buddy. We'll see you at the next one.
All right, see you guys. Have a great night.
Great job, Greg.
Thanks, Sam.
That is Greg Evans. He is tonight's winner. And Sam, the more things change, the more they stay.
The more they stay the same.
Yeah, the more they stay the same. It's just a truly dominating performance from Greg Evans tonight. He is the winner. Same throughout the top three. Ryan O'Donohue brings it home second. Kendall Paul, he comes home third. Very quiet night, but very effective for Kendall Paul.
Yeah, well, we've kind of touched on this over the course of this long season, is that as we get to the close of this great year that we've had with the AMA, really the old saying is, and you hate to be cliche, but it really is what you have to keep going back to, that the cream will rise to the top, and that's what we're seeing here in the Grand National Series, that these guys, the Kendall Pauls and the Ryan O'Donohue and Greg Evans and the others, they're really showing that they're going to be the contenders for this championship. But then you have drivers like what we saw tonight they really want to make their presence known, like Dylan Godinez and others who really want to be up there with that elite group that's running up front and show that they have speed as well. And I think that you're going to continue to see some of that over the course of these last three races, is that drivers that have run this season out, they're going to take gambles like Merriman does. They're going to show up and show out at the beginning of these stages and at the beginning of these runs, and they're going to get their sponsors seen, and they're going to get their name heard one way or another, even if it means getting into victory lane. So even though we've run this long season and we're getting down to the closing few races, the excitement has not lessened at all.
No, it hasn't. And speaking of that excitement, we're going to have AMA Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series racing every Thursday night and through Halloween weekend. For Halloween week is the finale at Phoenix. There is no truck race tomorrow. We are off. They will return next week, October the 17th at Talladega. As for P1, we will have the votive IndyCar Oval Series on Sunday night. That's 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Monday, it's the past, present, and future of IndyCar racing. It starts with the IndyCar Open Series top split at 8. Myself and Jacob Collins will have that one. At 9:05, it's a blast from the past, the Onyx Racing League. Gary Godso, Luis Gonzalez Nunez on the call there. And then at 10 o'clock, Jacob Collins will be back for the nightcap with the Indy Next Series. On Tuesday, it's the flagship broadcast, 8:15. Gary Godso will bring you the IndyCar Oval top split, followed immediately thereafter by the Indy Next Series. We're going to have the Horizon IndyCar Series on Wednesday night. And then I believe that'll bring us right to next week in the AMA Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series. Talladega, 8:20 pre-race, 8:35 start, Sam. We do want to thank everybody that makes this possible. Not only the sponsors, Blackmagic Studios, Archway Industrial Coatings, the drivers, the fans in the stands, but we want to thank the people that really make it possible. The military, the police, the firemen, the EMTs driving the ambulance, Sam, and the nurse that unloads you when you get to the hospital. We thank you all. Thank you so much.
So thankful. Thank you.
Sam, we got a day off tomorrow.
No, we don't have a day off tomorrow. I don't have a day off for the next few days.
I don't know what I'm going to do.
My birthday.
It is your happy, you turned 29.
next Tuesday is my birthday, so my family is we're celebrating this weekend.
There you go, Sam. Mine is in a little bit more than 2 weeks. So October birthdays. My daughter's
My wife's is actually the day after mine, so we're really celebrating both of them.
my daughter's 9th birthday was today, so we're having her party this
Oh,
weekend.
happy birthday!
Yeah. So hi to Charlotte.
Excellent.
Hi to the lovely Miss Charlotte. You can open your package of giant new bows this weekend. Thank you so much, everybody.
Oh.
And we will.
Good night, everybody.
We will see you next week.